Here goes their crow. Hey, how we doing? What's up, everybody? Welcome to CrowCast episode 30. How we doing, everybody? Hope you're all well. We got a fantastic Chris Buck coming up very shortly. Obviously, lots to talk about tonight. The amazing sort of trip we had to Germany. So as soon as the Crows come on, we'll chat about that. But yeah, lots to talk about tonight. How we doing, bud?
Very well, man. It's exactly what you said. It's kind of a rammed show. I'm just whipping through some of the messages. Loads of people saying hello, which is great. So giving a big hello to them. And it's exactly like you said, man. Chris is coming up very, very shortly. We don't want to kind of hang around tonight. We're going to get kind of straight into it. Everybody wants to know how the Germany trip went. So there'll be plenty of talk about that. There's been a lot of changes in camp. There's going to be some notices on social soon. It's just been a fantastic week, haven't it, But it's been very, very positive, packed with adventures. Like,
yeah, I feel like I've had a boys' holiday. It's it was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. But yes, we'll talk about that later. But
exactly, just whipping yet again through all of these. A lot of people speaking German tonight, which is fantastic. Hello.
how we doing, everybody?
Shall we have a guest, mate?
Yeah, let's get him on as soon as possible. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the awesome Chris Buck.
Hey.
Oh,
Hello. How's it going?
what's happening?
Comparative, you all look like you sat in like an ITV studio, and I look like I'm in a basement somewhere. So.
Oh, I don't know about that. He does. He's gone and spent a bit of money on this stuff.
Yeah.
I also have a small mammal powering my internet. So if I sorry, guys.
Yeah, it's taken 30 weeks, Chris. If you would have looked at episode 1, it didn't look like this. It's just we've had nothing else to do but upgrade our backdrops and technical gear, and yeah.
Oh, fair one. How's things? How's Germany?
It was amazing, dude. Absolutely amazing. Have you played Germany?
Yeah, once or twice. I'm trying to think where I've been altogether. Frankfurt. Oh man, Bavaria. I've done some things dotted around, but nothing in a kind of like a tour format, so much as just 1 or 2 gigs spread about. But it's a cool country. It's a really nice place.
They really look after you. They just love their rock music. They're just like wonderful hosts, man. They were incredible to us.
There's that kind of enthusiasm for rock and roll over there as well, which seems to manifest itself in them, as you said, taking care of bands and actually going the extra mile to sort of make sure that you're fed and watered and looked after, which is more than can be said for a lot of places. Elsewhere.
Yeah. I think the UK could definitely take a thing or two from them. The venues in particular.
That was the thing I was dancing around then.
I'll just say it. I'll just tell like it is. Yeah, man. So how have you been, bud, in lockdown?
Yeah, not too bad. All things considered, I kind of feel like I'm the Bond villain that's done well when the rest of the world is kind of burning. Because I've been really busy with it's kind of part and parcel really of having done so much online work, I guess, in the past kind of 2 years. Started the YouTube thing. Obviously, none of that was done with the sort of intention of, well, when the global pandemic rolls around, I'll be okay. But it's kind of been one of the sort of happy coincidences, I guess. Instead of splitting it 50% online, 50% live work, suddenly it becomes 100% online. And obviously, I guess, especially in the kind of first 3 or 4 months of it, everyone kind of panicked. All the companies that I ordinarily do work with panicked and going, what do we do? We've never kind of encountered this before. We still need online content and we can't go out and film bands. So we'll bring them to you, So I was kind of inundated and still am to an extent as well with just kind of, snowed under with just kind of whether it's producing content for brands or kind of whatever, just bits and bobs, which is, don't get me wrong, I'm relishing the thought of kind of getting out and actually playing to some people and playing with mates again, but it's kind of been a bit of a lifesaver by all accounts. So.
Well, to be honest, mate, I mean, you were flying on your YouTube channel. I mean, how many subscribers have you got now? It's like...
good question. I think around 70,000, I think. I remember it in 70 recently. I honestly haven't looked since then. The big thing that's coming up is 10 million views across the channel, which is, a bit surreal, really, when you think about it. 10 million, you get into this cycle of, I try not to look at the numbers too much because it's for one, it's entirely dispirited because there's always something else that you're chasing. And if one video gets kind of 100,000 views, then you kind of think, well, why didn't it get 150? So it's a bit of a hamster wheel to kind of find yourself on that. So I try not to go into it too much. But inevitably, we're all human and we all kind of facts and figures and numbers are kind of what we sort of live and breathe, really. But it's like I said, it's kept me sane, really, and it's kind of still allowed me to reach an audience like you boys. It's kind of adapting and kind of making the most of a bad situation. And you guys went straight away and started doing the CrowCast. It's kind of it's just making the most of, as I said, like a bad situation, I guess.
Yeah. Do you find yourself under pressure now to come up with new sort of things? Yeah. That's honestly, that's the horrible thing about, and bloody hell, I could be down a mine. I don't know where that would be, but I could be, I guess, if it was 1950. So there's definitely worse things to do, but that's the kind of hardest bit about it, is having a new idea every week, and especially suddenly at the start of lockdown, when I found myself with all this time on my hands, it was a case of, right, well, instead of shooting literally one video a week and that being the week's video, so I'm one of these guys that unless I kind of have a deadline to work to, I'll just procrastinate until the end of time, So having Friday being where Friday is, and it's pretty immovable and pretty indefinite, I always kind of work towards Friday. Whereas suddenly at the start of lockdown, it was like, well, I've got all this time on my hands, I might as well just start producing them in advance. So the first month of lockdown, I was just like an animal, just couldn't do enough. I was just kind of flat out 24/7 working, which is great until you just hit a wall and burn out. And then it was like, okay, maybe I over-egged the pudding a little bit to start off with. So it kind of tapered off then. But like you said, just thinking of stuff to talk about every week, and it's obviously guitar-based or music-based or whatever. So it always has to kind of be around that theme. But bloody hell, there's only so many wah pedals you can talk about, really, isn't there? So that's the drawback of it. But as I said, it's not working in a bloody pit somewhere. So. Well, dude, I'm not just saying this. I'm a huge fan. I love the way you express yourself on the guitar. It's incredible. The way your technique is unreal. Anybody who hasn't seen Chris, please go and see his YouTube channel. He is absolutely unreal. If you have, like, where have you been? But dude, there's like, musicians, and then there's other people then that can just. Is another level, and I believe like you're one of the best guitarists I've ever seen. But I'm not just blowing smoke up your nose. The fact you're Welsh as well is incredible. But
I was gonna say, this is the first of these like online things I've done where I can actually talk like I normally talk, like, and not worry too much about everyone else not being able to understand the bloody word I'm saying. Honestly, that, speaking about the YouTube thing, that was like such a thing to start off with. It's a Welsh thing to talk quickly. Words suddenly that shouldn't be joined up are suddenly joined up, and it all kind of rolls into one thing. Yeah. And I was having comments from people who maybe English, well, not even English is their second language. English is their first language, and they still can't understand the word I'm saying. Yeah. So comparatively now, I speak like the Queen to like a year ago. But The
first shows we did, you remember, Ron? I think we went to London, then Newcastle. And people were just saying, he's like, Fireman Sam on speed. And I was like, because I speak so quick on stage. And I even sound more Welsh with a microphone. I don't know how that happens, but...
I don't think I sound particularly Welsh, to be honest. And then it's got to the point now, not just... I don't listen to myself back and think I sound particularly Welsh, but every now and then someone will go, "You were the Welshiest sounding person I've ever met." So maybe it's still in there. But no, it's weird, isn't it? I think it's almost like a nervousness thing as well. If you're on stage, you're full of adrenaline, you talk faster, and your accent becomes more pronounced. So that's very human, I think. But no, thank you very much for the kind words, man. Very kind of you.
But I mean, as a band, we've done the same sort of venues and stuff. But when I did the Cozy Bash thing with you,
yeah.
Wow, that was such a big deal for me, man, to be on stage with you guys. And no, it was incredible, wasn't it?
No, it was a great night. It's such a shame. I mean, that was kind of the last casualty this year, I guess, for us. Obviously, Rockstock as well, but that was the kind of one thing I was kind of clinging to. You know, kind of maybe that'll happen, because I mean, bloody hell, Rockstock. That when was that kind of all first kind of organized? March or whatever. And I remember they kind of got in touch, said, would you be up for doing it? It's in December. Everything will be fine by then. And you're like, God, yeah, of course it will be. That's like 8 months away.
Yeah.
And then the closer it gets, you're thinking, okay, maybe if 6 people aren't allowed in the same room, then maybe a couple of thousand people in Treacle Bay might be a bit of a push. Yeah, and it kind of, the closer we got, it dawned on me, like, the Cozy Bash is gone as well. So it's been a crap year by all accounts, isn't it?
They really have, man. They really have. But incredible with you, bud, with what you're doing online and stuff. I love your videos, but I can't wait for them to come on. They like, you've got some big hitters following you as well, dude. You know, I don't want to name drop, but there's some big hitters following you, bud.
I had one of my mates text me the other day saying he started playing a game on my Instagram called What the Buck, where you'll flick through to see who's liked posts, and it's a bit surreal. I had a comment come through from Miles Kennedy the other day that was like, "Oh, cool, that's nice to know he's watching." So yeah, it's a bit surreal. I mean, it's kind of part and parcel of social media, I guess, in that you never know who's watching you. The first moment I had of that, where, of course, you put these videos out, and aside from the people who actually comment, you have no idea who's watching. You know, you might have kind of 10 or 10,000 views on a video. You don't know who those people are unless they physically leave a comment. And a mate of mine called Adam Slack, who's the guitarist in a band called The Struts, got in touch on Instagram, actually saying, "Hi, mate, love you playing. Kind of let's keep in touch." So we kept in touch, and then about a month later, I had a message off him, a screenshot of a text conversation, because they toured with the Foo Fighters. They'd done a couple of stadium shows with the Foo Fighters, and he sent me a screenshot through. Pat Smear had got in touch with him, going, "Hi, mate. Came across this guy on YouTube, Chris Buck. He's from your neck of the woods. You must know him, surely." And Adam's from Derby, so he's like, well, relatively speaking, I guess if you're from a place as big as the US, Derby is very close. It is Wales in essence. And he sent it on to me. I was like, what is Pat Smear doing watching my videos? That's insane. And that was like the first moment of like, you literally never know who's watching, you know? So strange.
Wow, that's incredible, bud.
But it just took me back to watching Nirvana Unplugged, you know, thinking, oh, that's that guy. It was just a bit mad. But it's, you know, social media, and it's that kind of I have a severe love-hate relationship, I think, with social media, because don't get me wrong, it's been a lifesaver through times like this, and, you know, kept me going, ultimately, kept putting kind of bread on the table at the time when a lot of mates are kind of dying on their arse, for want of a better phrase, you know, guys who are entirely reliant on live work, which is kind of most of us. But as I said, I do have a bit of a love-hate relationship with it, in that it is just relentless, and you can't have a break from it for fear of kind of falling into obscurity. And especially, it's all about momentum in there. And especially you guys are like the perfect example. You were the band on everyone's lips. Even still throughout this, miraculously, thanks to stuff like this. But it's just so frustrating to get to the point of kind of, right, we're really building momentum, and then something insane like this happens, and you think, right, how do we maintain that momentum? And I guess the only saving grace of it is kind of everyone is in the same boat. So it's not a case of me losing momentum or you losing momentum. It's everyone has kind of had to press pause for a while. But yeah, just the relentlessness of social media and having to kind of, there's no mystique anymore, I think, is part of my issue with it. You know, if you wanted to see Led Zeppelin back in 76, you had to go and see Led Zeppelin or buy a record. Jimmy Page wasn't posting how he plays the Stairway to Heaven solo on Instagram. You know, it's kind of, it's a bit of a pain in the arse. I like it, and I kind of would happily do away with it all at the same time. So strange. Yeah,
man. It's your bread and butter now, dude. It's mad.
Yeah. That's the thing, you know, at the same time being aware that if it wasn't for that, I probably wouldn't be sat here talking, you know. So, I'll stop moaning is the long and the short of it, really. Just get on with it, innit?
Nah, mate, I understand what you're saying. So let's go back in, Chris. So when did you pick up the guitar? What age were you?
about 3 weeks ago, I think. No, I would have been, I want to say about 13, 14, something like that. It was like second year comp. And it was a mate of mine, mate / arch nemesis in the kind of way that you can have friends and arch nemesis all in the same person when you're like 13, 14. It was a mate of mine started playing guitar, and he was better at everything than I was. He was faster, he was taller, so he's better at sport, better in school, just everything he did, he was kind of better at than me. So he started playing guitar, and I was like, I'm going to be better than guitar, than him. And he gave up after about 6 weeks, so I kind of won by default, really. But I just it was the only thing I've ever done in my life where it was like, oh, cool, this makes sense. Like everything else I'd tried till that point, whether it was like football, rugby, or skateboarding, it was all like, this is a bit of an effort. And I don't know whether I feel like I'm getting enough out of it to justify the amount of effort I'm putting into it. Yeah. Whereas guitar, like straight away, it was like, oh, cool, this makes sense. And if you put your finger there and there, then you get this chord. Or if you move your finger up, the note gets higher. It's like, oh, cool, that makes sense, And the more time I spent with it, the better I got at it. So that was like.
Was there anybody in your family that was musical, or was it just you had to have lessons?
Not really. My old man was kind of always intrigued by guitars. He had a Rossetti Lucky Star. He dug it out to show me a while ago, which was like this horrific, like Woolworths learner guitar given to him back in the 60s that was just nigh on unplayable. So he never really learned, as much as that kind of frustrated him. So I think as soon as he was kind of in a position to kind of maybe indulge himself a little bit, I think it was pretty much as I came along, he bought himself a US Strat. And that was, I remember that when I was a kid, it was always in its case because he didn't want me knocking it over or trying to eat it or something. It was always in its case, and it was always stuffed down behind the back of the sofa. And it was always like a cool special occasion when he'd go and dig out this guitar. So I was always intrigued by it, but he couldn't play. He plays 4 chords, 2 of which are the same chord, just played with different fingers. So he's really not a player in any respect, bless him. Yeah. But he was just always intrigued by it. So there was always a guitar around, which I would kind of pick up and bash on. So I remember being given a 3/4 size acoustic guitar when I was a kid. And it's weird. I think you had to try and knock it out of me because every time I'd pick it up left-handed. And my old man had been left-handed as a kid, and his old man had been left-handed back in the days when left-handed equals devil worshipper.
Yeah.
So he'd had it knocked out of him as a kid. My dad had started writing with his left hand, and my grandfather, who'd had a lifetime of smudging words, going across a page and all this kind of stuff, was like, no, other hand. So I think when I started exhibiting the early signs of being a lefty, he was like, nope, over we go. So I guess kind of 13, 14, something like that, and just kind of went at it hammer and tongs. It was, if you're going to discover anything around kind of that you were going to be obsessed with, you might as well do it just before you take your GCSEs. Because then that suddenly ensures that if you're not very good at guitar, then you are stuffed. So, what's that? God, that's like 15, 16 years, I guess now, which feels, like I said, it genuinely feels like a lifetime some days, and then it feels about 3 weeks other days. It's one of those things. So, a long time ago.
So when was, because your playing, mate, is like, from a singer's point of view, I know it sounds really cliche. You make the guitar sing, blah blah blah, but you really do. Your playing is like a vocalist. It's not just like your notes, how you bend, how many you do, like 2 or 3 bends within a bend. Do you know what I mean? It's not like your normal playing. And you it's like you're the front man.
Yes, melodic in Shane. It's really like loads of feel. It's got that,
Oh, cheers, boys.
I listen to your stuff sometimes, and I think that's where I would go. That's where I would want to go naturally as a singer. And you're doing
yeah. Well, this is the thing. Thank you, by the way. That's very kind of you. I can't sing for toffee. I've got a voice like a goose farting in the fog. So the further I am away from a microphone, the better. So, inevitably, when you're learning to play guitar, you've kind of come up through all the same influences that everyone else kind of comes up through. Like the first guy that I really latched onto in a big way was Slash. I was just obsessed with guns. Anything GNR I could get my hands on, I would kind of, I had a cupboard full of bootlegs that I downloaded and burnt to disc. And I would just listen to these bootlegs, like of horrific quality. Someone recorded them on a potato back in 1987 in Burbank. just horrific things, and I would just obsess over them. So I was like really kind of just obsessive over Slash, and then kind of started working my way backwards from that, I guess. You know, again, everything I kind of ever did was I kind of worked my way backwards from more recent bands, I guess, which I guess is inevitable. You know, you're not going to start off with Zeppelin. You'll maybe find Aerosmith and think, well, who were their influences, or who were Guns N' Roses influences, and you kind of work your way back all the way back to like Robert Johnson or whatever. And yeah, like I said, I kind of came up through all the obvious guitar influences. Stevie Ray, Eric Clapton was a big one. Slash, kind of all the usual suspects, I guess, in that respect. And then the older I got, I mean, a big one for me was I played with Slash in Birmingham back in 2012 at the NIA. Which was, there we go. That's coincidental, isn't it?
That must have been unbelievable.
It was a bit mental. It's so funny. I told this story recently, but it bears worth repeating. I wasn't allowed to tell anyone. It wasn't that I wasn't allowed to tell anyone prior to it, but I think there was a sense of like, if you blab about it beforehand, it all looks a bit kind of contrived, and it all looks a bit just forced. Keep it quiet, and it looks like a cool kind of like, oh, that's a mate of mine. I'll invite him up the jam. And it all came about through my manager, Alan, who obviously managed Guns from 86 to 91. So was kind of, you know, took him from a shitty kind of LA club band through to Wembley. So he's obviously kind of still good mates with Slash. So it all came about through that, and all culminated in a phone call from Slash while I was wandering around Lidl's, up and down that middle aisle, trying to decide whether to buy a piece of cheese or a jackhammer or a 4-man tent. Just Slash phoned me. And he was like, "Do you want to come up and play?" And I was like, "At what, sound check?" And he was like, "No, a gig." And I was like, "Oh yeah, all right, cool. That sounds good." Sorry, I'm washing my hair. It was, I think the NIA is like 13,000 people. I think it's something mental. And I honestly can't remember any of it. I remember walking on. I remember Miles Kennedy coming up and kind of going. I was stood side stage before I went on, and Miles came over and was like, "How are you doing?" And I was like, really nervous. And he was like, "Don't worry, you're fine at sound check." And as soon as he said that, it was like just all the pressure went. And he was like, "Oh, cool. Miles Kennedy thinks I'm all right, and he can play a bit. I'll be fine." So all I remember of it is walking on and walking off. The rest of it is kind of like a car crash or something where your mind like blanks it out. But really happily, there were some guys from, no doubt fans of yours actually, Andrew Pick and Julie from Abercarn in my neck of the woods. Happened to be there, knew nothing of the fact that I was playing, so it was entirely coincidental that not only that they were there, but they happened to be filming for the bit where Slash introduced me, and obviously they're like really taken aback by it, not only by the fact that I'm coming on stage with Slash, but by the fact that he introduced me as a lad from Birmingham.
Yeah.
At the time, my wife, my then girlfriend, now wife, was living in Birmingham, so I was kind of semi-resident. I was semi kind of honorary Brummie. And you can hear Julie, Andrew's wife, on the video going, Slash goes, "It's a lad from Birmingham." As clear as me. And you can hear Julie going, "No, he's not. He's from Wales." So the sole video from that, or the sole decent quality video of that entire event, is introduced by Julie going, "No, he's from Wales." So yeah, that was a bit of a mental experience. But yeah, I can't remember how we got on to that. Yeah, so Slash was a big influence, but I think I was very conscious of, obviously, I didn't realize Alan, my manager, had been sending videos and clips and tracks to Slash for a long time prior to that, you know, of me. And Slash obviously liked what he heard and was cool with the idea of getting me up. But Alan was very much kind of waiting for the moment where I wasn't just mini Slash anymore. I was kind of, you know, like 3 years prior to that, if you told me I could have walked on wearing a top hat as well, I would have been all over it. I was really kind of, you know, low slung Les Paul, very much kind of Dime Marshall. That was me. And I think, not that there's anything wrong with that, but Alan was just very aware of the fact that if I go on there and try to out Slash, you're only on to lose us. So once I'd started playing a Strat, and once I'd made a bit more of a concerted effort to try and sound like me and less like the guys that I kind of grew up listening to, Alan kind of put the phone call in and said to Slash, obviously, are you up for having Chris the Jam, you know? But it was kind of from that moment onwards, really, I made a really concerted effort to start trying to incorporate like other influences into my playing. So, like you said, the vocal thing is a big thing for me. a lot of my favorite musicians, full stop, not just guitar players, are people like, I don't know, Otis Redding or Sam Cooke or Aretha Franklin, Paul Rodgers, like great voices. And it's not just a tonal thing. It's not just the way they sing. It's the way they kind of go in and into notes or out of them, or kind of drop off notes or vibrato or whatever. You know, like for so many guitarists, vibrato is a thing that you kind of frantically apply to every note. And it's kind of immovable. The speed of it doesn't change. The intensity of it doesn't change. And ultimately, for me, vibrato and stuff like that has always been about emulating the human voice, which naturally, if you hold a note, will start to decay and start to kind of vibrate and warble very slightly. So just simple things like maybe wait a second before you stick vibrato on a note, because then when you do stick vibrato on it, it's 10 times more meaningful than just landing on it and going alpha leather with an up and downer, you know? So stuff like that. And then as a kind of natural extension of that, you start thinking, well, vocalists don't just do one note at a time. You know, they're kind of capable of sliding in and out of notes, or, you know, like, I mean, pitchy is one of these words that's kind of thrown around as like a negative. You listen to any great kind of vocalist, whether it's Aretha Franklin or Ella Fitzgerald, they're all pitchy. They're all over the place. But it's those little idiosyncrasies where they kind of, you know, not out of tune, but just kind of being subtly in and around the note. That's what makes it magical. So just trying to do stuff like that and trying to incorporate more stuff like that into my guitar playing. And the thing is about it, I guess, initially, ask anyone who heard me kind of practicing that stuff, it can sound like a kind of dying cat for quite a while. But the more kind of confident you get with it, the more accurate you become, and the better you get at nailing it ultimately, I guess. So it's one of those things that a lot of people then seem to identify that with me, which is amazing. It's one of these things I never set out for it to be like, I want this to be a me thing. I want people to hear like a double step bend and go, oh, that's a Chris thing. Because quite frankly, I didn't invent it. I'm just nicking it from singers, and no doubt there have been 1,000,001 guitar players who've done it before me. It just so happens to be that I'm the guy in this moment in time doing it now. People seem to kind of attribute it to me, you know, which is a bit mental. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's one of them things that I guess the more identifiable and the more unique you can sound, within reason, obviously. You don't want to sound unique for the sake of it. There's plenty of guys who've done that. But it's kind of, it helps, I guess, you know, and it helps with just being identifiable in a sea of incredibly talented musicians who can all kind of sound a little bit the same after a while. So
100%, but
it's one of, sorry, I'm talking over you. Go on, man.
Right, go on. No,
it's one of the reasons, that and laziness, that I never went down the speed route. And obviously with Eddie Van Halen having passed a couple of days ago, it genuinely brought back very vivid memories of getting the best of Van Halen and the best of Thin Lizzy on the same day. Because when you start playing guitar, everyone in your family goes, cool, I'm going to get him some CDs of guitar bands. And then you go from listening to Cisco and the Spice Girls to suddenly like, oh, cool, who are Van Halen?
Yeah.
So suddenly all this amazing music opens up to you, and he's like, oh, cool, I've never heard of Thin Lizzy. I've never heard of Uriah Heep or Aerosmith or who are Guns N' Roses. I had a kind of brief understanding of what guitar was prior to that, clearly. Like, my old man's a big Beatles fan, and you can't listen to the Beatles without knowing what a guitar is, and Clapton and all that kind of stuff. But it was this amazing kind of like, oh, this world of music. And like I said, I vividly remember getting Van Halen, the best of Van Halen and the best of Thin Lizzy on the same day, and sticking the first tracks on from both records. And the first track on the best of Van Halen was Eruption, obviously. And it blew my, I think like most people when it came out in 78 or whatever, it just blew my mind. I was like, I can't even understand this to be a guitar. It sounds like totally alien. And then you stick the best of Thin Lizzy on, and the first track was Chinatown, I think, or Boys Are Back in Town or something. And it's like, right, okay, that still sounds hard, but that does at least sound like a guitar. I'm going to do that thing. Because the other thing just sounds like, as long as I got a hole in my arse, I'm not going to be able to even begin to replicate that. And that was my initial thing with like, maybe playing fast isn't for me. And then the more guitar players you meet and the more guys you meet who are kind of so technically focused and so intent on being like the fastest or the most kind of precise, and you think, well, that's amazing, and there are countless players out there who do that incredibly well, but you're never going to be the most precise. You're never going to be the fastest, because as soon as you are the fastest, an 8-year-old kid from China will come along and be the faster guitar player, or, you know, kind of I heard a phrase recently, there'll be the blues fetus next or something. There's always going to be someone who can do something, do it better than you. So the only way in hell I can be better than anyone else or be kind of standout is to be me, I guess, ultimately, because nobody is going to be able to sound like me more than I sound like me. It's just a physical impossibility because I am me, unfortunately, as much as I try not to be. But I remember thinking that, like, well, okay, maybe I'll just put more effort into the kind of the feel stuff and the melodic stuff, because then it's not just a case of like, oh, look, cool, that's impressive, that's very fast, but I know Johnny Dog down the road who plays in the Dog and Den in Abercombe Fight Me on a Friday night, who's faster than him. Because maybe I don't know, whatever, it's just kind of trying to do something that is unique to me, I guess. I remember having that as like a very conscious thought process, and then trying to set about kind of trying to do something which was a little bit more unique, I guess. But whether I've done it or not, who bloody knows? So
no, but something you said earlier about being a musician and knowing your instrument is fine, but like Ronnie's a massive, like you were just saying there, Ronnie's a massive fan of like frontmen and singers, and you can really hear that in his playing too, his accents and how he, like when we write our songs and like especially in the new stuff we're writing at the moment, he's listening to my phrasing in melody and lyrics, and it's so important. You could be the best technical musician in the world, but listening, like
it's
interaction. It's all interaction.
It's hearing that, Chris. It's just using them, man. It's anybody can. I've been like you, where I've looked at other drummers and gone, "Whoa, look how fast he's playing," or "Wow, look how quick he's doing that double pedal." But there's no real groove there without kind of putting down the player. They're phenomenal, and wow, after 20 seconds of watching them pretty much catch on fire, you're like, wow, that's incredible. But it just sounds like building a shed to me. That's no criticism. It's just like, it's just how quick and how fast they can hit those drums, but there's no actual groove. There's no take home from it. Because even a drum beat, you can sing a drum beat, or if it's the right kind of groove, do you know what I mean? Or even the Phil Collins, in the air tonight, it's there, like everybody knows it. But when you sync that with a guitar lick, or a great vocal line, I mean, that's what separates certain players. I think it doesn't matter how many degrees you've got or how much music you can read. To me, it's just using them. It's just listening to everything that's going on in the room and really capturing the vibe, So
absolutely. And drummers are kind of great example, because obviously, like you said, there are so many technical drummers out there who kind of the clinicians and the kind of guys who go out and, like you said, it's double pedaling and all that kind of stuff. And from a technical kind of perspective, it's amazing. It's incredibly impressive. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It does nothing for me to listen to, because it doesn't inspire me in any way, shape, or form. And like all of my favorite drummers that I've kind of ever really latched onto are guys like, I think probably my favorite drummer of all time is Steve Jordan, who's obviously done an insane amount of stuff like John Mayer, but kind of played with like anyone from, I think he was kind of, I'm trying to think of some of the stuff he's done. He's done some really kind of bizarre gigs over the years, like James Taylor, but through kind of like stadium pop bands and all this sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. But just like a groove guy, so groove focused. It's just unreal. And I went to see John Mayer years and years ago in Wolverhampton, and Steve Jordan was with him. And I was marginally more excited to see Steve Jordan than I was John Mayer. And he must have played about 10 fills all night, but each one of them was amazing, and they were in the perfect place. And the rest of it was just like solid groove. And then at totally the other end of the spectrum, you've got someone like Steven Adler, and I can't imagine anyone else who would have played better drums on Appetite for Destruction than Steven Adler. Technically speaking, abysmal, I would imagine, from a drumming perspective. Not really a kind of a technically precise drummer, but just everything swung, everything had this kind of like loose, exciting kind of groove. And as much as I love Matt Sorum as a player, and I thought Matt Sorum in Velvet Revolver was brilliant, Matt's kind of era of Guns N' Roses for me was a bit more just kind of stiff, I guess, ultimately. And a lot of that probably had to do with the fact that it all got a bit more kind of grandiose at that point. You can't really play like Steven Adler over Estranged, I imagine, or November Rain. But Steven Adler was like the perfect drummer for Guns N' Roses for that early stuff. There was just a looseness and an exciting kind of groove and energy about it, which, he was the perfect guy for that job. And like you said, it's about interacting. It's about kind of listening. And again, I've never been especially reliant on tablature or any kind of form of written music. You know, every now and then, if something needs to be learnt that's a little bit complex to just get your head around by using your ear, then I'll dig out a piece of tab. But learning to just listen to stuff and be able to interpret what you're hearing, or parrot it back, or kind of mimic it, or kind of parody it, or whatever, is so much more important than just being able to kind of read stuff off a page, you know, because you develop a ear, you develop the ability to, as I said, interpret stuff and just understand what you're hearing. And I mean, Bob, the drummer in Buck and Evans, is a great example of that. Me and him have so many like funny little moments where we look around at each other and giggle, because we will have synced up on a fill, or kind of I will have done something and he's followed me, or vice versa. Just these funny little kind of like interactive moments where it's like, that's what it's about. This band wouldn't be half as fun for any of us if it wasn't a case of, you know, we're listening to one another. But I can't say the same for Dominic, bless him, because I can never hear the bass. We were doing something recently, and he was sound checking, and he was playing a really cool bass line, and I was like, "Oh, what's that? That sounds awesome." He's like, "Are you taking a piss?" And I was like, "No, why?" And he was like, "Never mind. Turns out it's a track I wrote ultimately, and his bass part for that." And I was like, "Oh, maybe I should listen to you more."
Bob Richards, though, you mentioned Bob there. What a human being Bob is! An absolutely incredible,
he's a monster,
and a brilliant drummer, man.
He's honestly, I love Bob to bits. He's as mad as a box of frogs, but he's exactly the type of personality you want in a band, because when you've been in the back of the van for 14 hours coming back from Glasgow, and you've broken down and spent 6 hours in Strensham waiting for the RAC to arrive, Bob is still there making jokes and cracking wise and pissing about, you know. And it's like, if it wasn't for people like him, I think I probably would have given up this industry a long time ago, because it can be soul-destroyingly bloody miserable at various points. But having him just to kind of, and it take any kind of extraordinary musical ability out of it, which he clearly has, just like some of my favorite ever moments have been on tour, have been kind of going to the toilet in a Travelodge in the morning whilst he's in his bloody boxers wandering around the room, shouting at Lorraine Kelly on the television, whilst listening to the radio on his phone at the same time. Just a lovely, lovely man, but man's a box of frogs. Like I said, he might well be watching this. So if you are, Bob, how's it going, bud?
I hope he is. Send us a message if you're watching, Bob.
I think he is. He did. I kind of missed the comment. He did put an eye up at the top of the show, unless he's tuned out now. He's like, "Ah, fuck him."
He probably lost interest as soon as I started talking, I imagine. That's what usually happens. He's a monster. Such a great drummer. Such a great musician all around as well. He's one of those guys that kind of, like, great vocalist, great at backing vocals, can pick a harmony out of anything. You know, kind of really good guitar player as well. He started off playing guitar. So, oh yeah, I'm here. There we go. Hi, Matt.
Hope you're well, buddy.
I'm gonna stop saying nice things about him now. Yeah. He's a terrible man. Kills small dogs in his downtime. So
how did the band come together then? Buck and Evans. How did that happen?
Britain's Got Talent. No, it was a weird one actually. I got offered a gig. Can you remember Sandy Tom? That name might ring a bell. Long time ago. She had one kind of big hit, Wish I Was a Punk Rocker with Flowers in My Hair. Bizarrely, I got offered a support slot for her at a place called Madame Jojo's in Soho in London, which it turns out was a burlesque club. Really weird. It's gone now, as are most of the venues. But I got offered this gig, I think, on the assumption that I sang. And as I've said, I'm clearly not a singer. So I was kind of scratching around and was a bit of a kind of loss as to what to do or what band to kind of put together for this show. Transpired all they wanted was a duo, because all Sandy Tom was doing was a kind of acoustic set. So I was like, oh, cool. Well, I'll ask Sally Ann. So I'd done a gig with Sally Ann about a year prior, I guess. And I'd only ever known Sally Ann through the Steelhouse Festival, which obviously was kind of her thing. And so I'd only ever kind of known her on that side of the curtain or that side of the stage, I guess. But a lot of her mates had kind of said, oh, she's got a great voice. They're like, oh, yeah, of course she has. We all sound great in the shower, I imagine. And then I heard her sing or something. I was like, okay, they weren't lying. She's got a great voice. And so I gave her a call thinking literally it would be a case of like, get together, have a couple of rehearsals, put together like a 30-minute set, do it, part ways, cheers, see you soon, you know. So we did this gig. Funny story as well. The only reason I took the gig was at the time, I don't think I've ever said this, Sandy Tom was going out with Joe Bonamassa, and Joe Bonamassa was playing in London the night after. So I was like, clearly he's going to be at the gig. And if you want to get ahead in the industry, go and try and impress Joe Bonamassa with your licks. So did the gig, no sign, hide, no hair of Joe. And it turns out they split up like a week later. So that might explain it. So I did this gig with Sal, and we had kind of just an amazing response to it. We had kind of marginally better reviews come off the back of the gig than Sandy Tom. So it was a case of like, oh, we might as well keep going. We might as well write some tunes. So we did. And then kind of one thing rolled into another. And then before you know it, we're out in Arizona. So I think that was in the April of whatever year it was, a couple of years ago now. That was in the April. And by the August, we were out in Arizona as Slash's backing band for the night. For a kind of not a tribute gig so much as a kind of a fundraiser, I guess. There was long story short, Alan, my manager, lives in Arizona, and they just had some like horrific wildfires, and there'd been like a really terrible loss of firefighters. I think it was the single biggest loss of firefighters in one go since 9/11. So it's clearly a big thing. And Prescott, which is where Alan lives, is this tiny little mountain town. So it's like, I don't know, it's like a place as big as Neath or something having this horrific event, you know. So clearly everyone kind of clubs together and this kind of real sense of community. And Alan spearheaded this kind of gig, the headliner of which was Slash. There was a load of local bands. Buck and Evans did a couple of things, but the headliner clearly was Slash, who just flew across on his own with him, no guitar, just him and his bodyguard. We jumped in a room and started bashing out a couple of tracks. So we did like a couple of Stones tracks, a bit of Hendrix, did a couple of Guns N' Roses tracks, obviously, and I had a horrific moment in rehearsal that afternoon where I came within about an inch of asking Slash if he was sure he was playing Paradise City, right? It got to that bit, again, having been like little Slash or mini Slash for a very long time, I was pretty sure I knew Guns N' Roses stuff very well. And obviously better than he does. And we got to that kind of bit just before the first solo where he goes down and then into the first solo. And I've always thought this was G to F. It was absolutely G to F, and he was playing C to B flat. I was like, what are you doing? I think you're playing that wrong. So I managed to stop myself about an inch short, which he found very funny. But we did this gig, and Sal kind of got up and sang, and I was the guitar player, and we had a kind of band built around us out there. So the long and the short of it was Buck and Evans went from, that's why we've got such a horrific name, it was like Buck and Evans. What do we need? We need a name and we need some songs. What are you called? You're Evans, I'm Buck. There we go. That's sorted. There we go. And we've been stuck with it ever since, sounding like solicitors on a rock gig. So Buck and Evans and co. So it all escalated very quickly. So we thought, right, well, we need an EP. So we jumped in the studio. Bob and Dom got on board, and et cetera, and the rest, as they say, is not history. But yeah, it all just kind of went from one thing to another, really. And you know, it's always been fun. I can appreciate that, and we've had this feedback many a time from kind of people in the industry and all that kind of stuff. It's, if you look at it before you listen to it, people go, what's that all about? You know, with this airy guy and this lot. You know, it's a bit strange to get your head around. And the people who listen to it and then look are like, well, it makes perfect sense, you know. Mm. And you know, I'm not so naive as to think that this is not an image-driven industry. You know, it's kind of one of the reasons that all the biggest bands of all time look particularly cool as well. You know, it's part and parcel of it. But it's just great fun. It's great fun whether we're writing. It's great fun whether we're gigging or whether we're in a van dicking around, you know, sticking stupid Snapchat filters on Bob when he's asleep. Every bit of it is just always great fun. And that's, you know, kind of, for me at least, that's what it should be about. Because if you don't enjoy it and you don't do it for the love of it, first and foremost, put it this way, if we did it for the money, we wouldn't be together. So
that's it's the same with the Crows. I mean, these boys, you know, sometimes, especially when the shit hits the fans, you know, like it's happened a couple of times when I've gone on tour and my voice isn't there, and if it weren't for these boys, you know, I've known pretty much majority of my life, I probably would have jacked it in, you know. It's them that take you to the next level, or just drag you the fuck along. Well, Germany in particular is one of the best trips we've had. I mean, I love this, probably because we haven't done much because of lockdown, but I think it got to the point where I think the first 3 years it was like, right, let's try and be something, let's put our all into it, and now because we get a little bit of momentum, as you put it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Still need that camaraderie, that someone to say you're being a dick, or just hit you with reality. And these boys do that. They're my brothers, and you gotta have that. Otherwise, what is the point? Because it's so difficult, the job.
I think you hit it on I think you hit the nail on the head there, bro. It's the amount of time you spend in a van, like Chris said. The first few years is like a honeymoon stage. It is like a new girlfriend. Everybody doesn't want to kind of upset anybody. It's all cool. It's all gravy. Everything's cool. And then you start to realize it is an uphill battle. It's completely uphill. And you start working out those that might be kind of falling behind because they're not, it's too hard. It's a battle, and I think where we are as a band in particular is we've kind of broken through all the crap, all the mud and everything, worked out where we are songwriting wise, worked out where we are personality wise. And now I think Germany was just, not even because we haven't seen each other, it was almost like it's all your apprenticeship done. It's everything. We know where we are now. So we could just enjoy ourselves, do the job professionally, and just make it memorable then, because, it might not be there. That's the other thing. You've got to kind of stop, like you said in the van, at one point to me, and I suppose you do it, Chris, and I suppose Bob has done it throughout his career. You have to stop sometimes and kind of appreciate what you're doing. And I know previous bands, I didn't do that. You're always on the go. What's next? What's next? What's next? But you don't have that snapshot of, wow, look what we're doing at the moment. This is incredible, So I think we've all kept each other in check for there and made sure there's a break. Hang on, stop. Everybody stop. Just appreciate this right now. Now we move on, so
that's honestly, I'm terrible at that, and I know I should do it more often. But like a great example of that, we did Download a couple of years ago. We did the second stage of Download, and in hindsight, that's such a cool moment. Like, you guys are doing Download next year, aren't you?
Yeah.
It's like playing Donington. Like, how big is that? Did I appreciate any of that? Absolutely not, because I was just so. I don't really get. It's funny. I was talking to this about someone about this the other day. I don't really get nervous. It's not nervous in a way that would ever manifest itself in my kind of playing wrong notes or whatever. I just get this kind of nervous energy, I guess, where I'm a little bit of an arsehole to be around for the half hour prior to a show, where it's just like I want to get on stage now. But Download was a great example of that, because I remember being so stressed about everything. And in fairness, it was a bit of a nightmare gig as well, because it was raining. It was like you need an arc to get to the stage, never mind a bloody buggy. The gear got absolutely drenched coming across the stage. Sally Ann was getting changed in a dressing room. So obviously we're in Derby. She was in Nottingham, I think. So she had to then try and get a bloody train across the site or something to try and get the stage in time. It was just a nightmare. Everything about that gig was stressful, but I just didn't appreciate any of it as a consequence. I think that, with the fact that it was a big deal, I just regret it in hindsight, because it's like, that is one of the moments where, like you said, you got to stop and smell the roses every now and then, because it is such hard work. And you feel bad saying that, because I guess for outsiders looking in, think, really, doing a rock and roll band with your mates, pissing around, getting drunk, going playing rock gigs, what's to moan about? You could be down a pit, as I keep saying. I need to think of a better reference point. You could be doing any number of jobs which are just infinitely worse than that. But it's the kind of mental toll it takes, I guess. Like you said, it's that constant, right, what's next? What's next? What's next? How can we make sure that, like, whatever momentum we've built at this point, how can we capitalize on that? How can we keep that going? And until you were the Rolling Stones, I don't think that ever ends. I don't think until you're at a point where you think, I could probably take 10 years off now, come back and do a record and people will still care. That never ends, and it's kind of reconciling with that. And I think it's being cool with that idea and managing it then with the idea that you need to appreciate it along the way. I think it was the Foo Fighters documentary they did, where they recorded a track in a different kind of different studio across the US. Every track was in a different studio, and I think Josh Homme was on that, and they kind of interviewed him and said, why do you do it, or what advice would you give to up and comers? And it was, paraphrasing him badly, it was very much based around love it. First and foremost, you've got to do it for the love of it, because if you do it for any other reason, you won't last. You won't last 10 minutes, never mind 10 years. And you have got to just get enjoyment out of it first and foremost, because like you said, it can be the best job in the world and the worst. It can be soul destroying, and then the next night, touring is a perfect example. You play one venue and 3 people turn up, and it's like, why are we bothering? This is the worst thing in the world. And the next night sold out for some inexplicable reason, and suddenly you were rock stars again. And it's like out managing that kind of that high and that low, and still finding some kind of middle ground to kind of sit in without being so dependent on the kind of the ups and downs of it, I guess. So it's tricky.
It's so we're so like, for example, we come back from Germany 2:30 in the morning. The following day, 1:00 in the afternoon, we were having a meeting. What's next? We are so driven. We are so that is just how we are. But like, it was similar to what you were saying about when you went on stage with Slash. You can't really remember that. When we did the Download gig last year, we played the Dogtooth stage. I cannot tell you what I did on that set, because the gig kind of took over. And I was kind of on autopilot. I don't really know if I sang okay. I don't even know if I sang the right words. Probably didn't, because I never do. But the point is, now, it was only like we did the gig in Germany, and I sat down on the keyboard, excuse me, and I had this moment of, it was the first time I've ever been on stage and thought, I am completely in this moment. I'm so proud of this moment. And that's never happened to me on stage, ever. I don't know whether that's the COVID thing, and I was so happy to be on stage again. But I almost think it's done me personally a favor to not take that shit for granted. And we had, like I said, I keep saying it, we had such a blast in Germany, and I was with my boys, and what better company to do it with. And I was just so appreciative of that moment. And I'm going to take that now with every show the Crows do. And hopefully it'll make us better musicians, because I think if you're free to be thinking that clearly in your mind, I think your performance level will go up notches. So
absolutely.
Watch your
good luck. No, absolutely. It's one of the reasons, I guess, why a lot of my favorite bands always look as though they're having a great time. You look at Springsteen and the E Street Band, every single member of that band looks like they would rather be nowhere else on earth than on that stage entertaining you. And it's like, it's such an infectious thing that comes across not only kind of internally or to yourself or to the rest of the band, but the crowd. There is something really infectious about watching someone, like you said, in the moment, present and having a great time. And I'm terrible at that as well. It's happened once or twice to me, I guess, where you settle into a gig and you're having a good gig. And especially, I guess, same as kind of singing, I guess, as a guitar player, certain nights it just all kind of feels good. You know that if you go for a note, you'll probably land on it, whether you kind of, whereas the night before, everything was a little bit more work and it wasn't kind of working out. Certain nights are just great. And they are the only occasions where I'm like, this is really cool. I'm with 3 people I love and I know really well. We all get on, and we're gonna have a couple of hours in a van to dick about tomorrow, but we get to do this again tomorrow night, probably to another load of people. It's like, those are the moments you wish you could bottle that. And if every moment of being a musician was like that, there'd probably be lots more people who'd be musicians. But it's the kind of the 3 a.m. in Frankly services trying to eat a bloody stale sausage roll is the other side of the coin. But it's like you said, you've got to enjoy it and you've got to do it for the right reasons, because it's tough. But then it's the best job in the world. That's the thing, isn't it? This is why people get sucked into it. Not to sound bitter, because there are like highs like I've never experienced anywhere ever doing anything, whatever you can think of. Nothing can be as joyous or as kind of like ecstasy, whatever the word, whatever, and happy as kind of being on stage in front of it doesn't matter how many people, just doing something that you love. It's like, that is the most joyous moment in the world. And then if every moment was like that, we'd all be all right, wouldn't we? But
well, me and Shane's had loads of conversations lately, Chris, about we've always wanted this since we were kids. Like, we've even said it to teachers, we want to be a rock star or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's because there's two flavors. It's exactly what you said. It's like when you bottle that electricity, that vibe, that special moment on stage that you can't explain that to anybody. That's why I don't play under the influence of anything, because I find that is enough for me. That's overpowering. And then the second one is when you write a really cool song. It doesn't matter if the world haven't heard it. To you, if it's with your buddies and you're in a room and there's a new song and it's that vibe, you know what I'm on about. And it's like, and you're just all in the moment, and it's not even finished. You haven't even added all the dressings to the song. It's just the backbones of it, and you're just all smiling, you're all laughing, or a hook line comes in from a vocal and you're like, oh my God, that's massive. Like, that's the second bottle. Like, it's incredible.
That moment of knowing that you're onto a winner with a song is great, isn't it? It's kind of, it was for all the songs that you write, kind of 80% of them might be absolutely shite, but it's the 20% then which makes up a record. And I remember speaking to, it's always intrigued me because, I've written some songs I think are decent songs, nothing on a level that would be kind of a global hit. But I'm always intrigued whenever I meet anyone who kind of has been in that situation. I remember asking Bernie Marsden about it. Like, when you wrote Here I Go Again, did you know you'd just written Here I Go Again? And I've asked him on 2 separate occasions now, and he's given me different answers on both occasions. The first time was like, yeah, I think we did. I think we really had a sense that we were onto something. It was obviously him and Coverdale. And the other time, which was probably the marginally more kind of accurate answer, was like, I don't know, really. I don't know whether we kind of, all right, we thought it was good, but I don't think anyone ever foresees like, oh, this is going to be used on adverts in 40 years' time, But it's cool, isn't it? That moment. Like you said, it's the two flavors. It's the two kind of ends of the spectrum. And it's balancing those and finding a happy medium. Because otherwise, if you do swing wildly from the highs to the lows, it's no way to live. It's, whether that's music, whether that's any kind of creative profession, I guess, whether you're an artist, whether you're whatever, if you go from one mad high of playing a gig and then to one kind of depressing low the next day, it's not sustainable. It's not viable to live that way. So,
Yeah, for sure, man. It's life that kind of pulls you in that direction, because you're obviously fighting. You're on about that balance thing, which yet again is a regular conversation with me and Shane. When we're very fortunate the position he's put himself in, and myself, we're driving this full time, because you just feel you're putting everything into it. And since I've done that, you almost feel there's no pressure from anywhere else. As long as you've got the support from everyone who loves you and everything, all of a sudden that those creative juices are flowing. The experiences are kind of inflated, like they're just bigger, like, So it's such a shame for the many musicians out there that have to fight with that balancing, because that can almost be a hindrance. Like, it can pull you off from a path that you could have gone down, and so many give it up, like, which is such a shame.
I think there's a lot of people who probably have a hell of a lot of regret around that as well, kind of maybe think, what if I'd stuck at it an extra 6 months? What if I'd given it a year of undivided attention rather than having to balance it with, well, it's not going to pay for a while, so I have to have a normal job. I think there's probably a lot of people with a lot of regret in that respect. And I've always been incredibly lucky in that my parents were really cool with the idea of me being a musician. Both of them had very kind of more kind of traditional stable jobs, I guess. My mother was a teacher and my dad had been a graphic designer, but then worked in production. So kind of they both had more kind of traditional jobs, and I was always very surprised and really grateful, I guess, that both of them were like, if you want to be a musician, then go for it, kind of, you'll only regret it if you don't. And I think my old man especially had a bit of that, there's certain things that he wishes he'd done in life and has always kind of been racked with regret around them. So I think that in hindsight was very lucky that my old man had that experience and was so kind of understanding of what I wanted to do and really encouraging of it. But like you said, it's having to balance it with stuff, and it's having to find a happy medium. Like, it's only within the past kind of, like, I guess 4 years, I guess, that I've been kind of full time, I guess. And I say full time. I've only done music for a very long time now, probably about 10 years, I guess. I mean, I dropped out of uni. I did my first year of uni, and it just was clear that A, I wasn't enjoying it, and B, the band I was in at the time was getting pretty busy. and it was a case of one or the other. And clearly, university didn't last. So that it's been a good number of years now that I've only been doing music, but it's only been within kind of very recent memory that it's been kind of, I haven't so much had to rely on the kind of wedding stuff, or I haven't had so much to rely on the kind of the stuff which ironically I quite enjoy when I do now, because the pressure's gone. You're thinking, I'm kind of doing this all right for the money, but it's kind of enjoyable as well, you know, good bunch of lads within the covers band or whatever. But it's just kind of, I don't know, it is balancing it, and it's kind of finding that happy medium between knowing that you do have to put food on the table, but at the same time, this is a job which for a very long time doesn't pay, you know. And then I've kind of had the experience that, again, Alan, my manager, kind of told me I would have, where he said, you'll be eternally pushing a very big ball up a very big hill. And he said, it'll seem like it's never ending and you're never going to reach the crest of that hill. And then suddenly, not only do you reach the crest of the hill, but there's a downward slope on the other side. And he said the rest of your life is then spent chasing the ball, trying to catch it up to slow it down. And that's kind of pretty much what's happened to me, I guess, within the past 2 years, you know, and been very, very lucky in that respect, even more so, like I said, when this is a time when a lot of musicians are kind of dying on their arse. So it's just through hard work, I guess, ultimately, you know, I've put a lot of effort into it, whether that's just the diligence of doing like a weekly YouTube thing, or whether it's just the kind of not giving up, you know, and kind of keeping at it when there were undoubtedly times where I was like, bollocks to this is too hard, you know, this is making me too miserable, why am I doing it, you know, and just powering through those moments. So
yeah, man, absolutely. It reminds me actually of a time when I was a kitchen designer when the band started, and it was good money. I had a lovely home,
great kitchen as well, I imagine.
Yeah, it was good actually. It was a nice firm. Yeah. But they were the days. No, that's not fair. You give me all depressed now because my kitchen is shit.
I'm here in my shed now.
Yeah. No, but I didn't want to be that guy who sits there and speaks to his kid and said, "Oh, I could have done that." You know, Dad. You know, Dad used to write songs, and you know, I did the publishing thing, and I was writing pen and songs for other people and stuff. But I was like, there's more of me than that. But then I found myself in that trap, because you live to your means. Then you start putting all your focus on something you're not happy with. And the minute, I think you could be the hardest working person in the world, right? If you haven't got the balls, and I mean this respectively, like, but if you haven't got that in you to make those cutthroat decisions, then sadly you are going to live in regret the rest of your life. Because what I did was, I'm going to give myself 6 to 8 months. And this is all I'm going to think about. And at the end of that, if that's not going in, if it's not going up, and I'm not having progress, then fair enough. At least I can say I gave 6 to 8 months of my life wholeheartedly, not, you know, all guns blazing. And as soon as I did that, I couldn't believe the trajectory of the band, because I was putting more effort into it. We did that, and it was just, so it's not even, you can talk yourself out of something so quickly because it's fear. It's, oh, what if it doesn't work? Oh no. But if you've got the ability, like, take a punt on yourself. You will not. It's so remarkable what you can achieve if you just take a punt on yourself and believe it and know it and feel it.
Absolutely.
That's the scariest part, dude. That initial thought. You get that out of the way, I guarantee you, if you want it that much.
The thing is, even if after those 6 to 8 months you hadn't had the trajectory that you wanted and everything had kind of maybe ground to a halt, at least you could say to yourself, and you could look yourself in the mirror and go, at least I gave it my best crack. You know, if you hadn't have done that, you know, thankfully it worked out incredibly well. If you hadn't have done it, though, there always would have been that element of, I was on the verge of giving it a go. I could have done this, or Daddy could have done that. But yeah. I was a bit scared, and I thought, well, a regular pay packet is preferable over living hand to mouth or kind of stressing out about where the next, you know, am I going to pay my gas bill?
Yeah.
But like you said, if you don't take that plunge, you don't know whether you'll sink or swim, you know. And
because one of my kids is really creative, art in particular, and of course now the government, they're putting up those, like, you know, what was up the other day on Facebook about a ballerina and the arts and stuff, and get it retrained and whatever. And I'm trying to empower my daughter, because with creativity is individuality, is power, is, you know, people then want to have that from you. So, you're creating your own boss, your own revenue, and that's powerful as a human being. And you're trying to encourage that with your child, only for then the government to go, well, no, you need to, do university, be skint because you're paying all those loans and blah, blah, blah. You may not be happy when you find that job, So art and creativity, but that's the whole nature of humans. And I think we've fallen into this trap. I'm going off on a tangent here. But we're in a position now where it's all about the money. It's all about the green stuff. And it's not. It's really not. It's not.
There's such a warped attitude towards the arts, like you said, and that poster, that Fatima's next job could be in cyber or whatever it is.
Yeah,
that's so indicative of it. It's not taken seriously, and irrespective of how many billions it brings into the economy on a yearly basis, whether we're talking grassroots or whether we're talking U2 putting on stadium tours, it brings such an insane amount of money into the economy, and that's just live music. Take dance out of that. I've been to a couple of operas in my time. My missus has dragged me along usually, and kind of ballet and stuff like that. And it's like just always being incredulous at not only how many people are there, but how many people that's employing. Whether that's the lighting technicians, whether it's the sound technicians, whether it's the orchestra, whether it's the ballerinas themselves. Yeah. It's like it's such a big industry, and it's such a big, not only employer, if you want to bring it down to brass tacks, it's such a big employer of so many people. Yet, when times are tough, it honestly blows my mind, because when times are tough, what does everyone turn to? Exactly. Netflix or music or some kind of form of entertainment. And it's like, we are the entertainers ultimately, but at the same time, they're the first ones to go, well, that's where we need to make the money. That's where we need to cut the money, because, well, they're not, what are they providing really? Kind of, if we cut their funding, we can put that in other directions. And it's like, well, do it at your peril, because you'll all be fucking miserable when it all goes tits up again. So
you look at it, it's not a real job, and it's bullshit. It's utter bullshit. It's just a machine trying to get you to think negatively towards something that's so positive. So much happiness. It's insane.
Considering it's not a real job, they're happy enough to take my tax every year. So
absolutely.
How do we end up here?
I know.
Have we got time for Brexit yet? Oh man.
But there we are. Anyway, bud, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. Thank you so much for joining us, bud.
No, thank you for having me. Genuinely, it's been a lot of fun. It's been, I love doing stuff like this. And it's, like I said, it's even more enjoyable when you don't have to not only temper what you're saying, but you can speak at your normal speed and your normal accent. So,
yeah, we might have to put subtitles up on when we replay it back. But thank you so much for joining us. Hey, before you leave, bud, we're going to do something new now for everybody watching as well on CrowCast. We're putting up a new playlist every week on Spotify, and all the guests that we have on. I'm going to ask you, bud, have you got a song that we can add to this playlist? One of yours?
One of my, probably do Slow Train, I guess. Buck and Evans. That's the one. If you might have heard one of our tracks, it might be that one. And it's got a solo in it, so there we go. Yeah, stick Slow Train on there, I guess. If it has to be one of mine. If it doesn't, I can give you 1,000,001 better suggestions. So
no, one of yours. Chris, absolute gentleman. Thank you so much for joining us.
Shane, Ronnie, thank you very much, boys.
See you soon, buddy.
Take care, guys. See you soon.
Man.
Chris, take care.
Such a top guy.
Absolutely awesome, mate. I was captivated. All the front end of that, I was just kind of, it's incredible. Do you know what I mean? Really, really cool to see. There's a lot I didn't know, to be honest. That's another reason why I kept quiet, because I was like, wow, it's nice that Chris was so open and sharing with everybody who was watching, because that's what they tune in for. Like, they want to know. They don't want the standard stock. How did this, or how, what's your favorite guitar pedal? Because you can go to his YouTube channel, which I urge everybody to do. Follow Chris on YouTube, follow him on his Instagram, add him up on Facebook. Please check out Buck and Evans as well. Extremely talented. Should we bring him, please?
Yes, let's get the Crows on.
Let's see if they've been listening. Let's get Shiner in.
Hi.
There's Dave.
What's up, everyone?
Hey.
Hello again.
How's it going? Hey, did you catch up, boys?
Yeah, man.
He's a
Top
dude.
draw.
Yeah.
Top draw. Fair play.
He's an intelligent guy, passionate about his music, and just an all-round lovely bloke.
Yeah, man.
Well, before we talk about anything else, Shane just hit on a new feature. So every week, like Shane just said, now we have a new Spotify. It's all new singing, dancing. We're getting with it. We're getting all modern. So there'll be a CrowCast playlist every week featuring our guests' choice of song. And if you go some point during the show, it will go live. If you click the link that's scrolling down below, and you can check out our new 2 seconds
Ooh,
Crow Radio.
look at that. It's got lightning and everything.
Yeah.
Pay for that on it.
Dude,
So
I look
it's
pissed off in that photo, don't I?
It's really cool. So for those who are kind of going, well, what's going to be different about it? I mean, this week, for example, we're catching up. So me and the guys were in the van the other day, and we have added some tracks like Unaware by Inglorious, because of obviously Nathan James was on last week. He didn't get the chance to kind of give his song or anything, so we've added one for him. I think some of the boys have chose Why Can't This Be Love by Van Halen, Bad Medicine, Bon Jovi, because of obviously the trip. It's all to do with what's been going on with the Crows this week. I think you'll have a bit of fun looking through the playlist. There's Learn to Fly, Foo Fighters. You'll see there's a running theme. Wind of Change, Scorpions, Lump, the Presidents of the United States. It's the End of the World as we know it, REM. Breaking the Law, Judas Priest. Don't Give a Damn, those damn Crows. London Calling, The Clash. And obviously it's been added now, Slow Train by Buck and Evans, thanks to Chris Buck.
Amazing. Yeah, check it out, guys. Head on over to Spotify. You'll have a laugh.
Derek Beecroft. Bad Boy Scooter by Montrose.
Yeah, and like I said, if you can follow us, on Spotify as well. For those who haven't followed us on there, it's going to be something that we're looking at, and it's going to be updated constantly, and there'll be a bit of fun on there as well. So something to talk about every week, reasons why we've added tracks, and more importantly as well, when the guests come on, it gets them involved, why they might like certain tracks in particular, So yeah,
Brilliant.
man.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So, lads, let's talk about our little trip.
Before you start, hang on, Greeno, before you start. Ta-da!
Actually, that's a bit premature, because I was going to talk about London first.
Oh, damn. Never mind, sorry. Oh, I don't even know what I'm putting on.
Get Big Ben up.
Brilliant. Yeah, so we headed up to London first. What day was that, boys?
Wednesday.
Wednesday?
Wednesday night, yeah.
Yeah, because obviously to get to Germany, we had to have a test and all sort of be negative on that test to 48 hours before we went to Germany.
Yeah.
So we traveled up to London on the Wednesday to go and have that bastard test.
Oh.
Yeah.
It wasn't very comfortable, was it?
It wasn't nice. I'm not gonna lie. It was not nice. And I'm thankful. I'm thankful. Me and Dave went first.
Yeah.
Because if I had to sit there and watch you boys do it first and then have it done, I would have been a mess. But yeah, it wasn't nice. The one up in the nose was not nice, people. I can tell you.
It went up
No.
as far up as you can get, I think, wasn't it? It was like
It was a weird burning sensation, wasn't it?
yeah, it felt like burning, and it was like it all day then.
I nearly spewed. See, the nose was fine for me. It was when I was like,
Yeah, that was that. Yeah,
I nearly barfed. Like, ugh.
I wasn't particularly a fan of it. I'm not going to lie, boys. I said to you, my nostril was hurting for like 48 hours because she proper stuck it up there, and oof.
It must have
Good
irritated my sinus because my right nose, the when the shoe went up, was like blocked on it for like 2 days afterwards. It just got blocked. And I had to have like a sinus relief thing.
Yeah.
Madge played Merry L with me, like.
You didn't like it shined it out.
Oh, the best thing I've ever done. I was but honest.
No.
No. I was here for boy. I don't.
So,
I don't.
I must say, though, Harley Street Clinic did a fantastic job, didn't they?
yes, Harley Street were fantastic with us. They were very professional. So yeah, we kind of left there with a weird experience. And before we move on, so obviously Dave went first with the testing. Shane was great, I gotta say. Shane was great. He was better. We were all kind of leaning behind, waiting to see how he would take it up the nose. But he took it very well. Fair play to him. Then we were really entertained because I can't move on from this story because I kind of made a few notes for you to hit on. So Shiner was telling us some interesting stories of like past experiences with nurses and doctors and his reactions. So I won't go into that because certain things are obviously once said in the band, they stay in the band. But all I can tell you is when she came over with her clipboard and her mask and she said, "Who's next?" And the only person left was Shiner. Everybody who sat there literally did this and followed him in. And we all sat there and watched. And he was perfect. You were great, Shine. You were a real gentleman. No abuse. Absolutely brilliant.
Because there was a part
He
I
took
thought
it well.
Well, they must have read his medical notes for once.
Yeah, you watch him. He's a fucking liability. How sure it was on there, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not my favourite places.
Oh, but no shenanigans. You just got on with the Shiner boy. You were absolutely brilliant. But yet again, took it up the nose really well. Fair play.
It was the throat that done me.
So then, yeah, then the mission was then to leave London. Obviously, get back to Wales. Quick rehearsal.
Straight to rehearsal room.
So we went straight to the rehearsal room with Kev. Had a quick blast through, quick night's sleep. Then it was get up in the morning. All got picked up and we went up in the van. And like I said, for those who are paying attention, Dave went first in the test. So I think the boys are getting where I'm going with the story now. So we're about an hour into the journey, boys. Is that about fair? 2 hours? Into the
I'd say
journey?
at least 2 hours. At least 2 hours, yeah.
At least 2 hours. Now, for everyone listening at home, obviously, we haven't had our results at this point. So we fair play to Uric Records and management. A lot of organisation went into this. We're on our way to Gatwick and we still don't know whether we can play Rockpalast. That is the truth. That's why the socials wasn't packed with, hey, it was, we were still driving 2 hours into it and we were thinking we haven't had our results back. And that was the real worry. And then all of a sudden, bing, I have an email. And it's like, I swear to God, I wish a camera crew could have followed us around because I turn around and I go, hey, I got an email, boys. Yeah, I'm negative. And Dave flips literally around in the seat and goes, no! Which I just didn't expect that reaction. I was expecting everybody to go, yeah, Ron's negative, everything's fine. But Dave went, no! Because Dave thought being the first one in to have the test, of course they were doing it in, well, I'll go first. That means I'll have my results back first. So when he worked out that it was any old order, he was fucking furious. Because one by one, I think, who had theirs next?
Shane, that is.
Shane had his next. And oh my God, all you could see was Dave literally, I mean, he's fucking...
Oh, I fucking... It was wonderful.
Refresh. Yeah.
He was sitting next to Kev and he's just going, I haven't had it yet. And then obviously Shane went, yay, I'm negative, boys. And he's doing this. what the fuck?
Stressed out, man. I felt really, really tense. It
Well,
was like,
like we were sat in the same row. I turned to him. I went, "It's tense, isn't it, Dave?" He just looked at me and went.
honestly, I was like this. I was firing
Bear in mind, mine comes through after yours. I was last but one. And I just thought, oh, fuck it. It is what it is. But I was just, it was just so funny watching you get so stressed.
Oh, I was. And then the relief then when I had the...
Well, like, I have to just keep winding you up, going, has it come through yet, Dave? Has it come through?
Oh.
No.
Thing is, though, that if one of them, like, no matter how many of us were negative, if one of them had been positive or inconclusive, it would have just scuppered the trip, wouldn't it? So it was kind of like nerve-wracking for each individual person to have it, not just yourself, wouldn't it?
Yeah, so it went off Lloyd, then it went on to Shiner. At this point, I mean, Dave, the fucking car is bouncing. Me and Shane were at the back of the minibus, and it was like Dave's like a man out of control, like, do you know what I mean? And then I think you had your results then, didn't you, Dave?
Yeah. And then the excitement kicked in then, didn't it?
The excitement kicked in long
Wait
before.
for Kev, and a bit longer with Kev's results came in, and the 6 of us could fly. So that's that little part of the thing. And it happened how far away from Gatwick?
Half an hour away, was it? We're on the M25, weren't we?
At least 20 to 30 minutes away from
No,
Gatwick.
we
We
were
had
still on the
the
M4.
great news that the Crows could get out
So
there
we're
at
in it,
least.
Shane. We're making it more intense.
Yeah, we had our certificates through, and we were like, yo!
I'm negative.
Yeah,
Who
Dave
framed
had
your
to tell every
certificate, yeah?
person he met in the airport, hello.
I'm
negative.
You know?
See, Shane?
Have Dave had his certificate framed yet?
I'll just get it up, shall I? Just
So,
show
like,
you.
that's what she said.
My money's worth, like.
Yeah, you might as well show him all, Dave.
Let's have a little look, like. Where is she?
Come on, you. Get it out. Show us your certificate.
Here we are. Right. Oh, Jesus. Where's the...
As a few saying we could have rung him and stuff. We couldn't ring him because the part of this story was to get out to Germany, you had to have a test within 48 hours. There's Dave's.
Probably
the question is, Dave, how many people have you actually showed that certificate to since we've been back?
I killed my battery on the first day,
on the wall in the co-op.
Yeah, I suppose we could have rang, but we needed that certificate. It was the certificate that was. You can't turn on to someone in the airport going, "Oh yeah, we've phoned them and they've said it's okay." We needed the proof. So we were waiting for that email to confirm it all. It was a bit tense, but all good.
Yeah.
Yes, the certificate went through, and off we went into the airport to load the gear on.
Well, that was the moment when he decided to leave the stuff there and go for a piss.
That's what I was going to say. And literally about 30 seconds after this picture, I've just taken this picture now. Lloyd moved on to his gear, as you can see in front, and Dave goes, "Hey, what was the line? What was the line, Shane?"
You have to look after this.
Yeah, you'll have to look after this, or fuck it, I'll just leave it there. I need a pee. And he was gone. It was incredible.
He'd had a piss 20 seconds.
And at that point, I don't even think Dave looked back.
No,
I don't think Dave looked back. I kind of had my case, and then his trolley and stuff, and she was like, "Let me come and help you, bud." Completely blocked the fucking queue. It was brilliant.
I was all that tension on in the taxi on the way down. All that tension. I had to get out somehow. Like.
It's just that look, dude. It's like it's tense, isn't it, Dave? And he went.
I was like, yeah, nervous weeby. Yeah, that's what it was.
I think you had about 4 pisses in the space of 10 minutes.
I did. Yeah, no, I did.
Brilliant. So yeah, at any point you can stop me, boys, if we need to do anything. We then got on the flight. No, actually, first we had a nice little bit of grub together, didn't we? That was
Yeah,
cool.
We did.
Rubbing a beer.
We did.
We had some grub together. A bit of a weird experience. The whole logging into places, the apps, and I haven't done a lot of that. I'll be honest. So that was quite new to me. Maybe you boys have experienced that before, but it was easy enough. And then we decided to go to the toilet for a quick break. So it was Lloyd, myself, and Shane. We were in the toilet. The other boys have moved on.
And then we had a Starbucks, didn't we?
Yeah, then we had a Starbucks. We were proper cruising, me, Shane, and Lloyd. We were like, do you know what? This is amazing. This is outstanding. Let's have a Starbucks. Then all of a sudden, a voiceover comes, and it's like,
This is the
well,
final
all
four.
passengers for flight, please get the thing. This is your final warning. So there's myself, Lloyd, and Shane having to run. What was it? Good 10-minute run.
It was so funny because before the captain had even finished his announcement, Lloyd just legged it.
Yeah.
Then put the fear of God into me and Ronnie. It was like, run it. You gotta follow him. So then we started running, and we just had his Starbucks, and then I could hear Ronnie's got a suitcase. He's pulling on wheels, right? And he's making a noise as he's pulling it. So as he's running, obviously that noise is quicker, it's faster. And then all of a sudden, I could hear, oh no! And his coffee had spilt over his hand. And then was slowing down at the trolley, and I turned around and he's like half walking, half running, like, keep going, keep going. It was so funny. It was so funny. Scald in his hand. And that noise of that suitcase, I'll never forget that noise. It was,
Bear in mind, we all had masks on at this point.
Yeah.
So fucking, I had a bobble hat on, a mask, and I was like, okay, so fuck, just go to the moving floor. You'll get it even quicker.
Well, we were wondering where you'd gone because we, pop up to the loo and we were waiting at the bottom of the stairs for you because there was a loos on the top floor, wasn't there? And like, we were like, where are they? Like, we were standing, when we shine, we were standing there for ages. So we just went, oh, look, they know where we're going. They know where we're going. Let's just wander down. And as we were getting down, it was pretty much like last call sort of thing. We were thinking, oh, here we go,
It was the intensity of the captain. He sounded pissed off. It was almost like as if he knew there was 3 guys together. Oh, they're fucking in the bar probably. Or he had that tone about him. I don't know if any of you heard it. He was like proper the last call. And it was like, fuck. And like I said, we were running through the airport with Starbucks. I'd fucking burnt all my hand. Lloyd is running like, I don't know. It was like as if he was fucking with his blonde hair, like running for Sweden with a baton, because he had his Starbucks just literally, didn't he? Because he ran down. He ran down those. What do they call them? The moving. Yeah.
But did you notice, boys? When we were running, everybody else started running with us.
Yeah. We'll fucking do that again. We'll do that again.
Yeah, because what we're not saying is the airport was like a ghost town, wasn't it? It's not Gatwick. I've never seen it so kind of empty. So obviously when 3 boys start running like fucking chariots of fire down the airport, I think it set a bit of panic. Like there was somebody fucking chasing us.
Really fucking put someone out the way, going, out of the way.
It was like that scene in Lion King. When one buffalo runs, they all run, right? And Lloyd started that. As soon as he ran, we ran. As soon as we ran, everybody else ran. It was so funny. It was chaos. It was brilliant.
As soon as I heard that, this is the final boarding call for EasyJet, I was like, oh, fuck this, I'm gone. I ain't missing this.
So
brilliant.
So that was even before we got on the plane.
What?
So that was before we even got on the plane.
Yes, that is correct, Shane. The plane hadn't even taken off. And there was already all those stories of like the van, the testing, and then this is us getting on the plane. So it was a completely different experience. And then a beautiful photo of Mr. Kevin Patworth. Hey, no expense paid, you boys. Fucking hell.
Yeah, EasyJet.
Who needs to fly Emirates? So at that point, should we give something away?
Yeah, we better add.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah,
go on.
Let's give something away, and then we'll go back to Germany.
My golden pass.
We should go back to Germany. So, yeah, let me change the background. all professional tonight.
What are we giving away, Anne? I feel like I'm going to collect drum, boys.
What's the prize there, bud?
I'll send you one across now.
Can you collect one, right?
We will give away one of these. So it's a Rockpalast Crossroads poster that we took off the wall. Yeah. So this is the prize. There's not like I can't say there's loads of them because there's not. We literally took them off the wall. The boy said it'd be great to give them to some of the Crow family. So yeah, that is up for grabs. Is that right, boys?
That's it. Right?
I believe so.
That's it.
So it's the first one to get this. What's the next line? Is that right? Is that what
correct?
Tell me the lyric. Give me the lyric. What's the next lyric? It's lyric time. Tell me the lyric. Give me the lyric. What's in this lyric? It's lyric time. What's in this line? What's in this line? What's in this line? And the lyric is, follow me, my voice, my way. What's the lyric that follows? Follow me, my voice, my way.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
Yeah,
while we're waiting
we
for
were
the
on the
answer,
plane.
We were on the plane. And I gotta say, before I pull up anything else or we talk about anything else, I had like a really cool little video to play, but it's so hard. I'm just trying to work out how to upload it to you. So if you check our socials in the next couple of days, we will put a video up on YouTube of the whole adventure. And I think some of this storytelling will make more sense then. So we then arrive at Germany. Let's go back to Germany, boys. There we go.
Oh, there we are.
We arrive at the German airport and we are meted by our driver, Newt. Or as we say in Wales, this is a Newt.
Newt Fostler.
Absolutely brilliant driver, phenomenal host with the most.
He fucking was a good driver, I'll give him that.
You know, the first thing he says is, right, I'm going to take you to Rockpalast, which was the Harmony. Is that where it was?
Harmony, that was the venue, yeah.
In Bonn. So he takes us over there, and obviously we had the delight of meeting the producers and behind the scenes crew and everything, and just get to take in the moment. And out comes a nice big pint of, what was it called? Kolsch.
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 It was their sort of local beer. Yeah.
Which I advise anybody who's watching, if you ever get a chance, try it.
Yeah. So we've obviously been on the road now for a couple of days, and we were like, well, a pint won't hurt, and then we'll go to bed. The most dangerous thing is when you have the pint and Shiner goes, it tastes like shandy. And it genuinely did, because the first thing that happened was it was like Skull, and then it was Kolsch gone, and that was the first one down. And then all of a sudden another round appears, and it was like, oh, cool, excellent, got a bit of a dry mouth, like I wouldn't mind another one. And then all of a sudden another one appears, and then we look at our driver, and he's fucking drinking with us.
He turned to me, and none of you knew this. He turned to me, and you were all talking with the director, and he comes to me, and his fucking face was beaming red. He went, "You want my beer?" I was like, "Fuck, guy, go on it." And he comes back with 6 pints. I got, tidy.
Again, for anybody kind of panicking on the scenario, we'd been taken into this place. Once you walk in, you wear your mask. Everybody was respectful. Everybody stayed their distance. Then you were taken into the bar. You were seated in this like backstage bar area because obviously they had a performance on that evening and there was a crowd there. And then once you were seated, you can take off your mask and you can have a beer. It was that simple. There was nothing complicated about it. Everybody was having a great time. Everybody was friendly. Everybody respected the rules. So I have to kind of step in there because I don't want people to think, oh, they've gone over there for 5 minutes. And, you know, the Germans were very on it, weren't they, boys? It was really, really efficient. I think a few of you threw that word round, efficient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just class, man. It was great. So yeah,
It was.
Good couple of beers.
and then I think Newt took us back to the hotel. I'll carry on the story. What?
You haven't shown the photo of the beer, have you?
No, I was going to leave that one till that was after the performance. That was my friend. We didn't have several beer shots, in all fairness. Or I should have.
That wasn't after the performance. That was before. That was the day before we went there.
Like before, wasn't it?
Yeah.
What's that now? The night before, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I
was
got overexcited, didn't I? And I was sort of like, ooh, another beer. Ooh, what? What if I do?
I'm negative.
China loves, when he says he loves his vodka, China. But to see him like drink the beer,
Throwing pints back, like you don't know. I see it too.
loving it back now.
Because it was free when it shine.
Well, it's like that old saying, isn't it? When in Rome.
Yeah.
So,
Drink beer.
how long we were in Rome, people. You know what I mean?
It's when me and you went for a cigarette, and I turned to you and I said, "It's nice, isn't it?" And you turned to me and you went, "Oh, fuck, guy." I was just like, "Uh-oh."
I am just
You haven't drunk since the 29th of February. Shit.
Yeah,
Shit.
I done well. I stayed away from the vodka.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Otherwise, I should be over there.
I haven't got photos of that, Shane. I got like videos, which for everybody who will tune into our YouTube channel this week, like I said, we'll get somebody to splice some videos together for us because we took quite a lot of video footage, which is hard to upload on you because of the amount of how good the quality is. It's hard to upload, so I haven't got my head around that. But we'll definitely refer everybody to the YouTube channel. You can see kind of everything we've said from the start, the testing. There's some videos there, right up to where we just got now of how we arrived at Rockpalast, and how we got to the hotel. So you'll be able to see like little video footage of the hotel and stuff. And then we kind of had a few there, as Lloyd and I said. Newt took us back to the hotel, and then he got out of the van and said, "Good night." No, he said, "Here we are. We're at the hotel." Da, 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 da. Me and Shane went to go back to the room, and he went, "Where are you going?" "We drink." And I think it was at that point I fucking legged it because I could see the look in his eye. Like it was, he was on a mission. Our old driver, Newt. He was brilliant. Fair play to him.
Well, no, he took us down to this little bar, didn't he? Near the venue, and we had a couple of beers and the sort of Rockpalast crew were down there.
Yeah, the
We were chatting
director
to him
and
again to know him. Yeah, the director and the guy who interviewed you, Shane, and a few of them. So yeah, we were just sort of bonding with them and had a few beers.
Kev was with us as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, sorry, Kev come as well. Yeah,
Yeah, it was.
in a little cool little bar, just drinking beer. Don't think I paid for a beer. Can't remember.
I don't think he's fucking paid for anything, mate.
No.
We were well.
But yeah, no, it was good. Just getting to know everyone, and me and Shiner were talking a lot of shit in the corner, like It was good.
Right, so I'm going to say what the competition is, and then we'll move on. So the lyric was... Sorry. Follow me, my voice, my way. The lyric that followed was, "Hey, now jump on board." And the first person to say that was Carly Buckwell. Congratulations, Carly. Send us your dress, lovely. You got the first poster.
Dirk Diggler. That's it, Kev.
That was the place, yeah.
Dirk Diggler.
Was it?
Yeah.
Well, the bar that we were in, it had all like old aircraft seats and stuff. It was fucking really cool. It was
quite
sat
cool
there
place, wasn't
drinking a Long Island iced tea with Kev in a fucking airport in a aeroplane seat, like an old Britannia seat.
Yeah, then obviously that was the first night in Germany. and then we got Woken Up in the Morning, which you had to get. I can't bloody upload the video, and I'm gutted. So for those who watch it on YouTube, you'll know exactly what I'm on about. To the bells, I think fucking Quasimodo was having a rave. It was like literally there was a cathedral. Was it like a cathedral or their church? Or it looked beautiful.
Yeah, it was every hour on the hour. It was sort of like boom, like for the time, and so there was 10 in the morning. There was 10, boom, boom, and then they started kicking off in about lunchtime, didn't they? Like, and I was still in bed at that point, so
They have 12 at lunchtime.
very rude. Like,
they had fucking written a song around their bells. We were like, "Hey, you got a melody line?"
Yeah, we nearly had a new theme tune for CrowCast.
Then there was the fact of who was going to have the last bell, because like I don't know if you boys had noticed, it would be like bong, and then someone, and then you think, all right, brilliant, it's finished. Bong, 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 bong.
The last clap, wasn't it?
yeah,
So yeah, that'll be in the YouTube video. I'll put a little clip of that, because when we opened the window, it was like something out the fucking Sound of Music. I mean, we opened the window, there was just trees and this big fucking church in front of us, like, you know. So yeah, felt like one of the Von Traps. It was cool.
All right, so the next day, me and Dave were in a room, and there was a knock on the door. Shine.
Oh, yeah.
You'd obviously left. Hey, you left your
My bag
toiletry
in the
bag.
room.
his
in the
bag,
room.
yeah, was in the room. So, well, basically, it was supposed to be Shiner's room, and I ended up nicking it. Didn't I?
Yeah.
So your bag was in there.
So Shiner's banging on the door. Dave gets out to bed, and somehow something happened to the door handle, didn't it, Dave?
Yeah, don't know what happened there.
Fuck knows what happened, because none of us can remember. So it went something like, "It is you, Shine, innit?" "Yeah, it is me, Dave. Yeah. "Oh, well, you're fucked. You're going to have to wait because I can't open the door. Fuck it. I'm going back to bed." So he goes back to bed and turns to me and goes, "You're going to have to fucking sort that door out, like. I can't open it." So I get out. I managed to open the door. Anyway, Shiner grabs his toiletry bag, and I was just a fucking drunken memory.
Yeah. Then so when I've come in, I got my stuff. I've looked round at the door to see what's the matter with the door, and realised there's no fucking door handle left on your side.
It was on the floor next to the bed, next to me.
Yeah. Dave thought it was a teddy bear.
Yeah.
Yeah. So well, that was about 11 o'clock Saturday morning, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it was about that. Like, as soon as we started getting, like, we went out for a walk, didn't we, Ron? But as we were walking down to go, like, to have a little walk up the street, Dave then reminds me, "Do you remember using them shoe polishers last night when we got in?" I was like, "No." You know, they're like shoe buffers
Like a
and
buffer
wheels
in the corridor, isn't it? Yeah.
Apparently, we were drunk, just going.
And it's like,
I don't remember. All good fun, Dave. It was a proper bonding session for me and you, Dave, wasn't it?
we ended up in the basement, didn't we? I don't know if you remember that. We went down the wrong stairs and ended up in the basement. We were like, we didn't even know where we were. All good fun.
It was fun.
Yeah.
It fucking was.
But yeah, and then obviously Newt arrived, didn't he? Picked us up, took us back over to the studio. 3 o'clock, as he told you all about 30 times the night before, when he was having a food, like, you know, when he was having it large. Yeah, took us over to the venue, and then we could see all of our backline had arrived. Thanks to the guys at EVS and yet again Uric and management sorting that out, getting that over the line. So there was some absolute stunning gear there that we requested. And then we got taken upstairs, and I won't spoil it because, like, yet again, there's a lot of photos that we're we're keeping, and there's going to be some video footage that I think Lloyd and myself and other boys have kind of done a sweep through the dressing rooms. But we were very much looked after. It was an incredible arrival when we seen how they look after their bands. And Shane kind of touched on it a little bit with Chris. And I want to thank the guys from Harmony and Rockpalast for that. I mean, it was just amazing when we turned up. It was, a full spread. And then a menu to pick your tea, enough beverages, and even the kind of the head to go, don't worry, if they run out, we'll refill the fridge, we'll do this. You were just really looked after when it, boys. I kind of want to hit that home of how well we were looked after and how much we appreciate what they did for us there. It was it was just completely different. Yeah,
couldn't do enough.
It really was, man. It really was. Very, very grateful for it as well.
Yeah, and then obviously it was showtime, which we can talk a little bit about that. I mean, everybody's seen it. For those who haven't seen it, you can still view it on our Facebook. Go on to Rockpalast's Facebook, and just keep an ie out for it.
Check out Jake from the fucking Blues Brothers, and pull that photo back up.
Photo thanks to Darren Griffiths. Thank you for that, buddy.
He's Darren.
So yet again,
Dave, why are you sitting down?
Yet again, what an experience, boys. I mean,
it was.
Like Shane said, he was very much in the moment. I can only say from my own opinion that it was just unbelievable. I mean, I don't know how it came across to everybody at home, but even to just hear a crowd clap, they managed to get over 110 people there. I think in total there was a bit more. Everybody was, right distance, face masks on. Okay, you weren't allowed to sing, as Shane said on the broadcast, but it was incredible. It was even just to play to that was just the vibe in the room, because nothing against the Planet Rock thing, because we were so grateful of John Norman putting us on that bill. But to have some people in the room and making a bit of an atmosphere really made a difference,
Yeah, and to the people who obviously we watched it back and you could see messages the next day, sorry. We seen the messages coming up as we were watching it and saying, the Germans aren't being appreciative or the blah blah blah, but they weren't allowed. And every time they did, they would be like stewards come all over someone saying, calm down, or don't sing, or don't shout. And so it was all very much a controlled environment. But what all you guys could see was like the back of their heads from the camera angle. I was looking at their eyes, and I could see their faces, and I could see how much they were enjoying it. But they weren't allowed to express themselves. So and they were almost afraid to laugh. Like some of the things I was saying, they were afraid to laugh. But by the end of it, everyone was, a bit more spontaneous, I guess. But it's a weird one. It was like Ron said. It was even though you couldn't hear it, it was a great environment. What's the word I'm looking for? Atmosphere. Yeah, great atmosphere in that room. But I could see like so many people rocking out in the front row. Long-haired Germans just like doing.
Yeah, I just want to jump in there, Shane. It's exactly like you said. You could see their eyes, and from the drums, just to let all the British viewers who have been to come and watch us play, they were genuinely moving in their seats. But I don't think that came across on the camera. You could see they wanted to escape. It was really, really nice to see that we'd really turned them, but they were trying to obey the rules. And their opinion was to be there and experience that. Yeah, it was worth not singing along. Just to be at a live gig, to feel it, and for us, just to have them applaud back was better than playing to a room of nothing. It was such a mutual respect of appreciating the little things. I think, like what you said earlier, Shane, appreciating those kind of things rather than having the attitude of well, it's not a proper gig, so fuck it. Well, it is a gig, and it is what we've got at the moment. So it's something better than nothing. I've kind of said that for months. So we're kind of being a bit negative and saying, well, it's not a proper gig. Well, it is. It is, I'm sorry. There were people there, they applauded. There was a band on stage giving it giving it everything they got. So that's a gig. Do you know what I mean? And afterwards, the appreciation you got off them and the respect and the feedback, it was a gig, you know? So just got to appreciate the small moments.
There was a banging balcony. It was just, whoa.
Yeah.
And there were people like
They weren't allowed to leave their seats, were they?
No. But
They
there were
You
two.
could see the waiters coming round.
I know. I was tempted to put an order in after
Oh,
the show.
yeah,
Walking around, taking
Fucking
orders.
6 call spear, please.
Yeah.
Pizza.
It's like, we're in a fucking cinema. What's going on there? Like,
Yeah.
But no, it was awesome, man.
It was fucking awesome, man. It was all round. It was just
really
incredible, man.
Yeah.
And yet again, it was like parts of playing on stage with you boys and going, man, this is awesome. Like this is fucking awesome. You know, like looking across, smiling, little in jokes that we have in the band of stuff that might go wrong in rehearsals, and you're smiling because it's gone right. Or, yeah, man, just great, like great moments, like, and appreciating that we had that opportunity yet again in the situation that we're all in, like, you know. So
Yeah, a lot of people messaged me saying, like, because I did. I'm not gonna lie. I'll be open. I lost it in Neverwin. I got a bit emotional and a bit choked up with Neverwin. It was it was because the sound, after listening back to it, it was a different sound to in the room. Obviously, he was going through the audio for TV, but in the room, the guy who was doing that sound put this huge effect on my voice. So it just sounded so atmospheric and so isolated. And I don't know, it just took me somewhere. And there was a moment where I stopped, and it's because I'm like, I'm going to lose it here now.
Yeah.
It was a different sound on stage, wasn't it, boys? It was a great sound.
yeah. It was a lot drier on stage, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a great, one of the best sort of monitor sounds I've had.
Yeah.
Usually in years now, to me, for that reason. But I mean,
yeah.
I said if you always had a monitor mix like that, you know, you.
Yeah, it'd be easy, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Oh man, that sound was incredible. I think all the guys there, without moving off the show, because obviously I'll bring up the photo of after the show. Their attention to detail, weren't it? It was phenomenal. Even before we done sound check, they were looking around the stage. You know, they hadn't worked with a piano in previous shows, so the producer was like proper. He wanted to make sure all the shots were right, and I am right by saying that, and they hadn't worked with the piano over the last few Rockpalasts, like, you know. So a lot of 3-piece, 4-piece bands and stuff. So because we had so much going on that we wanted to kind of bring to a televised show, especially with like Say It with the acoustics, and then the Neverwin, the moment. Oh man, it was perfect, Shane. And I mean, I was backstage, like on the side of the stage, and I glanced over. I didn't realize they had monitors there and stuff. And that's when I could see you, man. And I could see like the cameras flowing. And I think I said to you on our night, I was really caught in that moment with you, like, you know.
Yeah, I wish I had that opportunity, because you don't know what those camera angles are. You don't know how it's being projected, your show, the way you do things. So going off stage and seeing that TV monitor on and just seeing how, that camera zoomed across, or there was different angles, blah, blah, blah. I think that would have given a bit of insight into how you know what I mean? You guys, if you've seen that, you must have gone on stage going, oh, this is looking brilliant. It must have given you a bit of
that's where the fucking tempos did that. It was almost like I came off. I'd had my sports massage. I was like, this is incredible. Right, let's do 400 meters. Like, do you know what I mean? So yeah.
But at this moment, I want to ask everybody watching, like, what were your favorite tracks on the night? If you can give us like your top 3, let us know what your top 3 tracks were. That'd be great. Carry on.
Yeah, no, that's really cool, actually. Yeah, I'll try and fly them up as they land. Like, top 3 tracks. Yeah.
Yeah, top 3 tracks. Should we do another giveaway?
Yeah, that's cool, actually. Yeah.
Cool. Tell me the lyric. Give me the lyric. What's in the lyric? It's lyric time. Tell me the lyric. Give me the lyric. What's the next lyric? It's lyric time. What's the next line? What's the next line? What's the next line? And the line is.
Hang on. The prize is.
So before that, eh?
Did you say it?
What it is now?
Another poster.
Another poster, sorry.
Another bit of memorabilia from Germany.
Exactly. And the line is, you think you got it all worked out. You think you got it all worked out. Go. Carry on.
Yeah, a lot of people loving Send the Reaper, which is cool. Kingdom of Dust.
Kingdom of Rest.
Kingdom of Rest, old anti-suiter. Never Win. Yeah, some cool. Thought that version of Say It is awesome, Charlie Skerritt.
Agree.
That's really cool. Yeah, because it was obviously like, you know, like we were talking as a band, it was, yet again, you've got people in the room, but because they're not jumping around, they're not cheering and stuff like that, you can only really go off their applause. And then like, you know, like you said, Shane, as well, some of your banter with them didn't get lost in translation because they told us afterwards that they enjoyed it. I'm just answering a question that was on earlier as well by Sam. No, we didn't do no meet and greets after, dude. There was none of that, which is fine because, you know, at the end of the day, if that's the way it would be over here for a little bit, at least people get to go to shows. So maybe there has to be some sacrifice to make it kind of flow. You know, and if it works for Germany, then at least it gets the live scene going out there. I think what they're doing was absolutely brilliant. Like, so,
yeah.
But yeah, there was no meet and greets. We obviously spoke to the producers and the crew because we'd been around them as well. The feedback was fantastic. Obviously, the people as they were leaving were telling the organizers and everybody how much they enjoyed it. So we still managed to get some sort of feedback, as everybody knows that's what we're like as a band. We like to know if people enjoyed it, how can we improve it, and they seem to kind of go away really, really happy, didn't they, boys?
Yeah,
that's what I had. And then literally, which was a beautiful moment. Then after we finished, there it is.
Cheers.
Absolutely brilliant, that is. Massive thanks to Kev as well. It was so nice. I mean, for those of you who've watched previous CrowCasts, Kev was one of our guests. He's a very good friend. He's pretty much family, to be honest. There's no friend. He's a family. Phenomenal career Kev has had. So to have him out there with his experience, he was brilliant. Like, and it was nice to have him out there working as well in a shit time. Like, so. And I think Kev enjoyed it. Well, we hope he enjoyed it. It's either that or he's there now still going, fuck I.
Fuck I.
So yeah, it was just beautiful moments, that was, wasn't it, boys? It was nice. And that beer afterwards, like, really, really brought it home, like what we just kind of done. It was incredible. And yet again, thanks to Uric Records, and everybody involved for working so hard to get it over the line. I know I've said that quite a few times, but, you know, we knew what they were up against. It's not the most easiest thing to do in this climate. So to kind of get everything joining and everybody on board was phenomenal. Like, so, and that's from all of us as well, boys, all of you personally. I thank you for being up for it and being so flexible. Even though, like, we know behind the scenes there was a lot of shit kind of hitting the fan and stuff, and yet it all managed to clear, and everybody got us over there, and we've taken away some incredible experiences, like, you know. So
yeah, and it was also so just so
How's your
everyone
vibe, boys?
watching
Cheers, Kev.
heart, that is, but from the heart. I was watching. The producer came up to us at the end of the show and said that our show was the most watched set of the entire festival. And secondly, he said even before the show, you know, when you got the blank screen or our photo was up, wasn't it? Before they could see how many people were watching, and there was hundreds and hundreds of people watching back home. So thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. Your support was incredible. Still haven't read all the comments. I'm still going through all the comments because there was so many. But
Thousands of them, weren't they?
your support is, as always, is incredible. Thank you so much.
yeah, and we met some great people out there that we're going to keep in touch with, and fingers crossed now. I mean, like I said, from our experiences, that was so like I said, this was a beautiful moment of job done. All the gear was packed away. Shower, let's have a beer, innit? You know, this is it, like, you know. So I think you might be right, actually, Shane. I do apologize. That was actually the first night there,
Friday
wasn't it?
night.
I do apologize. I was looking and thinking, fuck. But we didn't. Did we have a beer afterwards?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, a photo as well. Did we have a photo of that, or?
No.
That was the private beer. They were
Yeah.
bigger glasses, see. Couldn't fit them in the camera.
Massive.
Like that. They were like that, they were.
Huge. So the winner on the second competition for the German poster, the lyric was, "You think you got it all worked out. Don't hold your breath," was the line that followed. And the first person that said that was Shelley Skerritt. Congratulations, Shelley. Send us your address and we'll get that out to you. Awesome.
Sneak in through customs.
So, talking about photos now, Ron, I'd like to go now into the part where... don't do anything yet. Don't do anything yet, right? Let me sort of give the people a heads up here. So on our travels, we took lots of photos to document our road to Rockpalast adventure to Germany. When I got home and looked through the photos, I realized I had a few photos of our very own Mr. Ronnie Expert standing next to objects and people, and thought, for those who have never met him in person, we'll give an insight how big a personality our drummer is. And so I call this section Ronnie's Ratio. You don't have a map. It's the scale, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just called Ronnie's Ratio scale. Right? So let me set the scene here now. Photos are right. Don't show it yet, Ron. So on the first photo, on our travels, we saw a beautiful bonsai tree garden. So I asked Ronnie to stand next to the beautiful bonsai tree while I took the photo. Can you show the photo, Ron? There it is. That's a bonsai tree. Ronnie thought it was an oak tree, 300-year-old oak tree. No, it's a bonsai tree, that is. Those cars behind it, they're those little corgi
machines.
Little corgi cars. And then photo 2, we went to a traditional pub in Germany. I met a and this isn't a pub, it's a doll's house. The local made for his daughter. Check it out. Photo number 2. Look at that doll's house. Okay, 4'4".
That bloke he's with is only 5'5".
Yeah. Ronnie's tiny. Oh, Swickle. And then we always help Ronnie like with the drums and all that, because there's quite a few equipment he's got. But I took this photo of Ronnie capturing the moment where Ronnie helped Shiner with his guitar pick. There we go. There he is. His guitar pick. He's very helpful. Only a club. Leave him alone. He's only a club. Leave him alone. And then, the day after the gig, we went on a little tour around Germany. We were living life. We took some scooters, and we went to the town Bonn, and there was a Kinder Egg. You know the Kinder Egg treats? It was smashed on the floor. And Ronnie picked up the toy in the egg, and it was a miniature toy of Beethoven. So I took a photo of Ronnie and the toy next to him, because there it is. Oh, there it is. The Kinder Egg. Anybody that's met Ronnie, that's how big he really is. So. Kinder Egg toy. I had so much fun out there, boys. Unbelievable amount of fun, will you?
Yeah.
So funny. Hey, should we tell everybody what happened on the scooters?
Do you want, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, there they are, look.
It's not Hell's Angels, it's like Charlie's Angels, isn't it? Let's be honest.
It was like a really poor man sort of biker men from Mars when they're going around Germany.
Biker mice, you idiot.
Sorry, biker
men.
Well, we were men, not mice for me, so.
Brilliant. So, okay, everybody watching now, send us over one name. Who would you think fell? And let me set it up, right? The person that fell, not only fell, they took out a cyclist, a German cyclist. Unsuspecting German riding their bike, and around comes the corner and takes the German out. But ends up worse off than the German on the bike. Send over one name. Who do you think it is? All will be revealed shortly.
A bit of a mixed bag, on the comments there.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, we're all even there.
Yeah.
None of them ever seen Kev, have noticed?
Well, he wasn't in the photo, to be honest.
Yeah, could have easily been Kevo.
Oh, yeah, good point.
Could have been Kev. Yeah, it's across the board, isn't it? Fair play.
It is, yeah.
So, will the person who fell off the scooter raise their hand?
It was Kev.
Yay!
Yeah.
Over to you, Ronnie.
Yeah.
Sorry, fell off or roped off?
Yeah.
Abandoned ship, I was calling it.
It was
My
shiny.
dad, all my family think it was me, and I haven't told him yet. They were all like, "It's you. It's obviously you. You fucking." Do you know what I mean? I bet you boys have had the same, have you? Or
Yeah.
No, in all fairness, my mum, she kind of figured it wouldn't be me because she knows I'm a bit of a daredevil and I love stuff like that anyway. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
But my missus thought, she goes, you it's you, innit? You're stupid. And I was like, no, it ain't me. It ain't me, even though.
It's as Shane said, you can't really write it. I mean, yet again, I haven't got the video for it, sorry, but if you look on YouTube, there'll be all like footage of us on the scooters. What an incredible idea. Shane said, I know. We've got a couple of hours to kill before we go home. Let's hire some scooters. Fucking how many miles later? What?
And kill off the German.
Yeah. And the next thing you know, we're heading towards where was I? It was like Con was it? Or
Cologne. It's Cologne.
Cologne.
Which was what, 20 miles away, something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we did an 18 mile round trip, didn't we?
We
Like,
did.
we're not up the autobahn.
But in all fairness, in one of those, I think we had to turn around and make our way back because obviously anybody who's ridden those scooters, they've got a battery life, and we were all, well, I'd run out, Kev had run out, fucking you boys were in danger of running out.
Yeah.
So we make our way back, don't we? And fair play, like Lloyd said, he loves it. So Lloyd is fucking, whoa, she's speeding away, and Shane and Dave behind him as well. And I kind of take down the pace, I do, because I'm pulling out the camera and I'm, oh, this is amazing, this is. And there's a part I took over Shiner. Oh, all right, son. Yeah, I pass him. And I turned this corner and there was a little thing like sticking out in the corner. I was like, fuck, you know, I don't know if Shiner's going to see that. So I kind of turn the scooter and I go to put my hand in my pocket. So I'm thinking, he's going to fly off by here. There's no way I thought there's this dude on a bike proper coming around the corner and Shiner just fucking straight into him like, and did as I told the boys the fucking salmon, because as he hit him he just literally
I hit him at a steady 18 mile an hour.
No fairness.
And me and Shane were at the front, didn't we? And it's all we heard was someone shout, and Shane turns to me, Lloyd, man down! I was like, you are? Man down!
Oh, no. Like I said, Shiner ploughed into him, and then all I can see is Shiner on the floor, and this German standing over him, the guy with the helmet, just basically looking down. And I had that Rocky moment of, if he dies, he dies.
What did you say? What did you hit, Shane? In.
Yeah.
He's just pointing up at it.
It was the part of us just before Ron come back. So I'm lying on the floor. My shoulder's gone into cramps. So in between the bursts of pain, I'm shouting at him, I don't speak fucking German. And then back to, ah! And then Ron come back and oh, like, fuck.
Man.
I genuinely thought was we're going to hospital. He ain't gonna let him fly. He's gonna be here for a few weeks.
Yeah.
Sorry, Shane. I know I'm off.
That's exactly what I thought, because I could see he was in pain, and I was like, oh no! I was expecting to see his ankle turned the wrong way or a bone sticking out,
dislocated collar or broken collarbone or something.
And then he thought, oh no, he doesn't want to be in hospital in Germany.
No.
That's the only scar I've got.
Oh, there's nothing. Look.
So there.
Oh, nothing here. Yeah.
Yeah. And if we rewind slightly, the night before, you decided to do keepy uppies with a fucking guitar amp. Was that right?
Yeah, that was just before sound check.
Yeah.
Just before sound check, the guitar head, and for anybody who's been close up to him, just about to fall, and Shiner decides to start doing kick-ups with it. Because he panicked of it hitting the floor and obviously tried to stop it with his foot. So the outcome was that.
Yeah,
then his attempts of doing the Tour de France kind of fail because he plows into a German. And you don't think anything else. I mean, come on, oh boys, nothing else could go wrong then, can it? We've just done a beautiful little 18-mile jaunt on these scooters. Great idea by Shane. All right, Shiner's had an accident. He's plowed into somebody. Nothing else can go wrong. So we hit this part of the journey where we're just coming up to the home stretch. We look behind and somebody goes, where's Shiner? I don't know. Then we see Kev. I think it was Kev and Dave, was it? Or two?
No,
two
it was me, you, and Dave in the front.
Yeah.
Then we stop. Then I goes, where's the boys? And they're taking ages. So I come back. Coming down the hill is Kev and Lloyd. I said, where's Shiner? Lloyd goes, I thought he was with you. I said, no. He was behind me, but he's not. So anyway, we're waiting for him. We go back to where we were all stopped for a bit of food. He's not there. We're phoning him. They're going straight to answer phone. Nothing. And we're like, oh no, where's he gone? And then I thought because he's had a bump, as he hit his head, he hasn't said nothing. Is he confused, concussed? But it turns out he's missed the left turning. He's gone down the hill. He phones us.
And previously to that, I was ringing him like, yeah, and then they'd ring, then they'd just go to answer machine. And I'm talking like 10 rings now. ring him 10 times. It kept going to answer machine for, like, he's either got no signal, he's been abducted by aliens, or he's genuinely passed out in the gutter somewhere for, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
And our flight's in a few hours. Shit.
And then he phoned and said, and we asked him, where are you two, Shane? I don't know.
Oh, I'm by the fountain.
I'm by a fountain. Oh, all right. Yeah, like we know where that is. So I said, can you work your way back? To be honest, I haven't got a clue where I am. So we had to then go find him. So he explained that he missed the left turn and we ended up going and find him. But it was, I mean, the whole thing was just comedy gold. So funny.
It was like Brooks off the Shawshank Redemption movie, wasn't it?
He showed us on that. You had like a little app, didn't you, with a map on it, like tracking where you were, like kind of like a Strava app type thing. And like the diversion you had, like you got miles across the city coming back. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. To be honest, guys, the part that got me concerned is when I thought to myself, do you know what? This looks very unfamiliar to me. I was in a fucking housing estate. I was like, I haven't been here before. So I better go back. Yeah, so that was my 3.
And then we were traveling back, and then Kev, who was obviously with us, his scooter lost battery. So I think it was me, Lloyd, and Dave went ahead, and we turned back, and we were like, where are they going again now? And then coming towards us, like someone out of ET on a scooter, was Ronnie and Kev sharing the scooter.
Oh man, I could just say, because if he is watching, Kev, that was one of the funniest moments I've had. I don't know how long. So Kev, I can see he's apprehensive now, Shane. I know you boys would be as well, because it's fucking me driving, all right? I know the score. So I'm on the scooter. Kev's broke down. I'm like, hey man, do you want to jump on? And he's like, and you can see he's like, hang on a minute, bag. And he's trying his scooter. He's going, let me just see if it works. And I'm like, it ain't going to work. He's going to have to jump on for you. And when he did, and then I said, come on now, hold on tight. And as I did, I hit the go. Whoop, off we went. Kev grabbed me. And all you could hear was, over, oh, whoop, whoop, whoop. And then we hit that traffic, as you boys know. So we hit those roads. And you're basically fucking in a tiny little bike lane with traffic zooming by you, with Kev like holding on to me. What did you say? It was like Dumb and Dumber.
It was like Dumb and Dumber, yeah. It was. Aspen's that way.
It was outstanding, Kev. That was so, and like I can't remember. He was just doing this noise because he was holding on. He's oh, 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 oh. Every bump, like until we got down the home stretch with you boys, like so. I've never seen him so fucking happy to see you lot. Oh, thank God I'm off. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then we dumped the scooters and had a sausage.
Yes. We had a nice bit of currywurst, and the boys were introduced to samurai sauce, which is fantastic. Not that I'm looking for sponsors, but fucking hell, it's stunning. It's absolutely stunning.
It was.
Yeah. We'll have to put that video up yet again. We'll sort that out in the next couple of days, but we'll try and put that on the fan page. Some of the videos we'll separately put them on. This is the whole point of this. Now it's the CrowCast, so we can explain it all to you. At least when we put the videos up, then you can kind of look back and know exactly what we're on about. But boys, what a trip, man! What an incredible time, like, you know.
Amazing.
I like Germany. It's a good country.
Yeah, it's a brilliant country.
Yeah,
thanks to all the new fans. And thanks for everybody who looked after us out there. Just like I said, what a ride. Like, I mean, even when we were driving home, there was just laughter until I think everybody got dropped off at 2:00 in the morning. You kind of go to sleep in the van, wake up and start pissing your pants. Like, do you know what I mean? It was incredible.
It was when we were driving, when Newt was driving us from Bonn to Dusseldorf Airport, and we all dropped off apart from Shane, and I just had visions of Newt dropping off as well, going like that. Oh, they're all sleeping. No one knew.
Oh man. I actually give Shane a warning on that one, didn't I, bro? I was like sitting there, like, and I said, "What did I say to you?" Something like, "I'm gonna go to sleep in like 2 minutes."
Yeah. They're all sleeping. All of you were. I have trouble sleeping, but you boys have no problem at all.
Yeah, we all gone, weren't we?
Gone.
Yeah,
Tired.
but that was our German trip. Yet again, if you want to watch Rockpalast, it's available on their Facebook page. Keep an eye on YouTube. I think they might upload it in the near future. Otherwise, it's on our Facebook page as well. For those who haven't seen the show, share it. Keep sharing it. Keep sharing the love.
Do we do a couple of set lists now?
Oh, yes. Let's do that.
Okay.
2 seconds for these are not these. This is the set list we did in Rockpalast. We have the ones that we took to Germany, and we've all signed them. So this will be up for grabs right now.
Mm-hmm.
Again, the crow wheel up. Okay, I'm ready to go. So we got two to give away, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Should we do one, and then we can hand it over to Boyo for his segment?
Yeah. A German set list. The winner is nearly had it, Pepe. Leslie Lyron. I hope I said that right. Leslie, congratulations. Leslie Lyron.
Well done, Leslie. Yet again, if Leslie doesn't claim that, it'll go up next week on next week's CrowCast. David. Are you ready?
Are you ready?
Schlurgen.
Think of a German theme song like
Schlurgen.
Right. So, did you know why a school is called a school, right? It is called a school because in the olden days, towns were usually built on rivers. So schools obviously were built near rivers, and fishmongering was a really big part of the curriculum because it was a natural thing you'd have to learn as a kid. And the kids would come home then smelling a fish. So the parents would say, oh, you belong to a school, a school of fish. So that's why they ended up being called schools.
Wow.
Yep.
Fair dues, Dave. You've been on fire since last Wednesday, but you've been doing
I
good.
know. Is that true, but
I don't know, is it? You tell me.
That's a really good one, that is.
People are like, nope. B, nope.
What the fuck?
Smells fishy to me.
Bollocks.
I don't know where to go with that one, Dave, because that sounded that's bollocks. That's bollocks. Fair play on the straight face. Yeah, because you've kind of suckered me in by here. If this is an absolute bollocks, that did sound. Look at him, he's smirking.
Steve Davis, that is bollocks. Yeah, I agree with you. Sounds like.
Look at that.
Should be bollocks. Yeah.
Well done, Lee Graham. Thought it came from Greek for leisure.
Leisure? What's leisure got to do with school? Go to school. What kind of school did you go to?
Fish balls and chips. Pollocks. Load of pollocks.
Shoal, originally meaning leisure, and also that in the word leisure is implied.
Yes.
But what's that? That's leisure and lecturing. Right, you fucking full of shit, mate.
When you are.
Yeah, he goes. Here he goes. Whitey's warming up nicely. No!
My God.
Is it? Or what? Are you making this up?
I don't think I'm allowed to say, am I? I suppose it's supposed to always, it's got to stay.
Full of carp, Dave.
No, it's true. It's true.
See, I'm smiling.
It's true. See private comments.
School of Dolphins. Okay. Full of carp.
Dave. I love it.
You've got to be codding us.
Oh, nice one. Nice one. Should we do another set list giveaway?
Yeah, another set list. Here we go. Rockpalast set list. Signed and delivered. The song here somewhere. Ben Watts.
Hey, there we go.
Come on, dude.
Send us your address, bud. We'll get it out to you. Signed.
Hold on a minute. I'm just seeing, right. Someone put in the, go back to the, did you know? Someone put in the comment, a shoal of fish is pronounced as is spelt, not pronounced school. Isn't there a school of fish or a shoal? Is it a shoal?
You with the fact.
Yes, your
Yeah.
fact.
Well, I completely fucking made it up, so I must have got the actual.
I knew it.
The word wrong in the first place. It's not even a school of fish, is it? I thought it was a school of fish. Or was it a shoal? What's the school? What's the school?
Like, who's the headmaster? Captain Birdseye, is it?
What's the
What else for
school?
dinner? Fish fingers.
I'm sure they say School of Fish in Finding Nemo.
Yeah. Oh, I wish I hadn't said anything now.
Ah, you've been had, but you've been had.
You're all right,
Done,
Dave. I tell you what, let's have another crack and go on. Let's give us
Go on.
another one. David's crap.
Dave, hang on, before you do it, Dave.
Go on.
When you said on the plane was absolutely brilliant. You're not doing that one, are you? Do you
I
remember?
can't remember, can you?
All right. Oh,
I can if you want. I can if you want.
No,
I can do it if you want.
No, go on. You do your one. Do the one you were gonna do. Don't do one.
All right.
What's good do?
Say it.
Donkeys claim more lives per year than plane crashes.
Is that what he said on the plane?
No, it's not. But that's brilliant. Donkeys.
Oh,
That's so brilliant. Little donkey.
oh.
Apparently they do.
I don't know where you got that.
It's probably true. Do you know what? It's probably true.
Oh, man. Oh, that's fucking
More
brilliant,
people died of falling off donkeys.
Or just donkeys claim more lives than plane crashes.
Oh, Dave, man.
It's got to be falling off, haven't it? How else is a donkey going to kill it?
Like
Trample to death.
Something, or bite your head off. I don't know. Whack you
The
with his
film
big
they
knob.
killing donkeys.
Oh, fucking hell. I just
I'll
didn't.
never look-
I weren't prepared for that one. That was
No.
brilliant. Did you know donkeys? That's brilliant.
Taking more like plane crashes.
That's incredible.
I know.
Absolutely brilliant.
Just goes to show you how safe planes are, doesn't it?
Before we move on, Dave, tell the one that you told Shane on the plane, because that was incredible. We won't keep that for another week. You may as well just say it.
Do you know what I want about, Dave?
Yeah. So, was it polar bears are left-handed? Dolphins are right-handed. Almost always. Polar bear left, dolphin right. Polar bear left, dolphin right. Polar bear left, dolphin right.
I don't know why it's so funny, but it's so funny.
Because it's stupid and it doesn't. And you've got hands anyway, so. But yeah, that's apparently true.
And there's an insight for you. So we're just about to take off, and literally those three are fucking pissing their pants. Shane leads across to me. He goes, "Bro, Dave's got the best. Did you know?" And it just spread on a plane, like, didn't it?
Yeah.
Fucking polar bears are left-handed. I don't know how, but yeah. So that's what we get up to in our spare time. We're still listening to his facts, like. It's brilliant.
They never stop.
And
They never stop.
he said it's so pound-faced, like he's so dry. Of course, I was still laughing at the polar bear one, and it's me with the dolphin right there. It was weak, absolutely weak. I just imagine dolphins high-fiving, like, did he? Oh, man. Yeah.
There we
Outstanding.
Did
Outstanding.
Did you know? I wish I didn't.
Anybody got anything to add, boys?
How can you follow that?
You can't, can you? That's what I mean. That's a fucking brilliant takeaway, that is. That's a brilliant takeaway. But before I hand it over, or chirp in and stop me in case I'm going too far. If you can, at the top of the show, if you want to go and follow us on Spotify, we are now creating weekly playlists. This week, it starts with this week's adventures in Germany and going up to London, getting tested, and obviously a tip off to our guest last week, Nathan James, and obviously, well done, Dave. See, it's up now. It's live. Crow Radio. Follow us on Spotify. And Chris Buck's choice was
Slow Train.
Slow Train.
We're all on there.
So yeah, if you could kindly do that, that'd be awesome. Also, we have merch available. Loads of people are asking how can they help us in this climate. You can also go on our Spotify, and there is a tip jar on there. So you are more than welcome to fill that one up. Yeah, thank you so much for your support. Share the love on Rockpalast. Share the videos. And keep an eye on the socials over the next couple of days. There's still more news coming in from the camp. And there will be more videos uploaded to our YouTube, and just more to see, like. So anybody want to add anything before I hand it over to Shiner?
No?
Just want to say thank you so much, everybody. Your support has been incredible with Germany and everything we're doing in CrowCast. We will see you next Tuesday. Love you all the bits. Over to you, Shiner.
Ladies and gentlemen, one-liner, Shiner.
First one, stay off him fucking scooters. They might kill you. Second one, do not drive into Germans. They hurt. But that's the thing. I didn't even dent his wheel.
It's because you hit the Terminator. He was the Terminator.
Yeah, he was.
No, do it.
All right then. Him, Jürgen. Yeah. All right then. Let's get this thing up here. All right. Little by little, day by day, what is meant for you will find its way. Look at that, it fucking rhymed as well this week. My God.
Isn't that an Oasis song?
I don't know. I'll take it, Dave.
Little by little.
Good everybody, Crow family, living the bits. Take care. See you
next week.